Chapter 16. Seeing that the big snake was about to swallow Ning Cheng, a willow branch brushed over. The big snake was brushed by this willow branch, and was immediately sent flying. After the big snake fell, it did not dare to come over. Apparently it knew that the person who had just swept it away was extremely powerful. It quickly turned the corner, and instantly disappeared. When Ning Cheng woke up, he heard the scream of a nightingale, followed by a few unknown cries. It seemed a bit gloomy and terrible. Everything around him was pitch black, and all he could feel was coldness and hardness. Gu Yiming stopped. He saw a large pool of blood at his feet. Apparently, the two people had fought here. A torn piece of clothing was thrown on the ground. The clothes were full of blood. The clothes were not Gu Fei's, but Ning Cheng's. If it is not convenient to say, then don't say it. People always have a few things that are not convenient to say. I am also the same. I once saved a person. That time a few students were in a mountain area, and happened to encounter a flash flood. I saved a girl, and later we became friends, but I did not tell her a lot of things. She also did not tell me a lot of things. This is very normal, you don't have to worry about it. Ning Cheng already knew that this little nun was very honest, and also very simple. He really did not know how she survived in this kind of place. Ning Cheng looked at the little nun with some depression and said, "Little master, do I look like a person who is fine?" Ning Cheng was relieved in his heart. He gathered his strength and said, "Those bandits and the Zhanglu city are colluding. The further you go the better, the more you go the better." After exchanging a few words with Ning Cheng, Yi's expression and tone became natural. She was no longer timid. "Are you awake?" Just when Ning Cheng was wondering if he was dead, the little nun's voice came in time. The little nun turned out to be right beside him. Ning Cheng suddenly understood. He could occasionally smell this kind of fragrance on Tian Mu Wan's body. Tian Mu Wan did not like to wear perfume. This was obviously a virgin's body fragrance. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng quickly changed the topic and said, "Little master, there are the sounds of nightingales and various beasts outside. Are we in the woods? Is this the dawn forest?" When he caught the body, he clearly understood. This body was definitely not Ning Cheng's, but his younger brother Gu Fei. This time the little nun heard it clearly. A few chi-gathering late-stage bandits wanted to catch a nun as a concubine, and she was also a little nun. After understanding this point, the little nun did not have the time to ask again, as she hurriedly carried Ning Cheng on her back and walked away. She did not even care that Ning Cheng was completely soaked in water. Plop! Gu Yiming forgot that he was still in the lake. In his anger, he actually fell into the lake. With a strong will to survive, Ning Cheng once again grabbed the weeds on the side of the ditch. Just as Ning Cheng was about to climb up the ditch again, a huge snake that was more than 10 feet long quickly swam towards Ning Cheng. The last sentence was to lighten the mood and let him feel the joy of still being alive. If he did not have to die, then Ning Cheng certainly did not want to die. He longed to return to Earth after he died, but in fact, he knew that he was deceiving himself. Even if he had been reborn here, it might have been because of that yellow light. Ning Cheng did not want to take the risk of being reborn somewhere after death. When Ning Cheng saw the snake's oily green eyes, a trace of despair rose in his heart. This had nothing to do with his will. Even if he wanted to survive, he could not outrun this snake. That is to take her back as a concubine. Gu Yiming's heart was somewhat panicked. He quickly turned back, and once again walked to the bloodstained place, and then carefully looked at the torn clothes that Ning Cheng had left behind, and then looked around for a long time. Then he closed his eyes and pondered for a long time, and then suddenly opened his eyes, and chose another direction, and quickly chased after it. Yi smiled and said, "I know, I was too stupid. I did not know the urgency of the matter. I should not have asked you at that time. I should have immediately escaped. My name is Yi, not a young nun." After the little nun said her name, she explained, "This is not the Dawn Forest. The distance from here to the Dawn Forest would take more than a month by beast carriage. It is still very far." "I did not." The little nun's timid voice came again. After understanding this point, Gu Yiming did not run away, but strolled along the bloodstains. He did not even check the surrounding situation. With Gu Yiming's cultivation level, if he was a little more careful, he would have definitely found out that Ning Cheng went to the other side, but he did not even consider this point. Ning Cheng was just a trivial qi-gathering first-level cultivator, under the hands of Gu Fei who was at the qi-gathering third level. It would be a strange thing if he could change his direction. What is this place? Am I already dead, and in hell? Ning Cheng reached out and touched the surroundings. It was all hard and cold stones. Although because of Gu Fei's sneak attack, the injury on his chest was very serious. But with a strong desire to survive, Ning Cheng's speed was getting faster and faster. He simply did not care whether his foundation was injured or not, he only knew to run all the way, while circulating the qi in his body to the extreme. He did not let even a drop of blood fall from his body. Regardless of whether Ning Cheng was able to sneak attack or not, Gu Fei was already dead and could not be more dead. But he quickly jumped from the lake to the shore, and roared, "Ning Cheng, Gu Yiming, swear that I will not stop until I swallow you alive." Gu Yiming nodded with satisfaction, looked at the direction where the bloodstains disappeared, and stopped. He knew that the bloodstains extended out, not because Ning Cheng suddenly escaped, but because his younger brother Gu Fei wanted to tease Ning Cheng, and let Ning Cheng taste the taste of death while running. In less than the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, he stopped again, and stared at the lake on the side of the road. After a moment, he suddenly jumped up, and landed in the middle of the lake, and immediately grabbed a burnt corpse. He turned his head again, and went to the place where the bloodstains had stopped, and bent down to take a closer look. Suddenly a bad feeling arose in his heart. The bloodstains abruptly stopped here, without any warning. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air. Gu Yiming stopped. He felt that something was wrong. He had walked for a long time, but there was no trace of blood, and there were also no other traces. After saying this sentence, Ning Cheng finally felt relieved and fainted. Ning Cheng did not feel strange. The little nun was also at the qi-gathering third level. If she did not have a master, then it would be strange. Gu Yiming's eyes suddenly turned red. A terrible killing intent welled up in his heart. What is a wife? Ning Cheng breathed a sigh of relief, and then saw a little nun wearing a dark blue robe. The little nun was incomparably delicate. There were a few scars on her head, and unexpectedly had the cultivation level of qi-gathering third level. At this time she was staring at Ning Cheng with a pair of big eyes, and hesitated for a moment before she timidly said, "Are you okay?" "Why?" The little nun's desire for knowledge was obviously beyond Ning Cheng's expectations. "I am not here to collect information. I have always been with my master. My master is going to die. I want to find some medicinal herbs, so that my master can live for a few more years." When An-yi said that her master was going to die, her tone once again became gloomy. Bang! Ning Cheng staggered, and finally tripped over a stone and fell into a long ditch on the side of the road. Ning Cheng's drowsy head was soaked in cold water from the ditch, and immediately sobered up. He quickly grabbed the weeds on the side of the road, and wanted to climb up and continue to escape, but he was like a dried-up oil lamp. He simply could not exert any strength, and with just a little bit of effort, he once again fell into the water. An-yi took out 2 wheat cakes and handed them to Ning Cheng. "I have a few cakes here, you can eat them." Collecting information. Ning Cheng thought for a while and then said, "When you are full and have nothing to do, then you look for some impractical things to do. Or in other words, you want to go somewhere to play, and then find an excuse." Hearing Ning Cheng call her a little nun, the little nun's face immediately turned red, and quickly stepped forward to pull Ning Cheng up. She stammered and said, "I am not a nun, may I ask you?" Ning Cheng's speed reached the extreme, but he was getting more and more dizzy. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, he could already see a black star in front of him. Ning Cheng knew that he had reached his limit. He was very clear that he was absolutely not safe. He was sure that Gu Yiming would find him here. It was only a matter of time. Ning Cheng felt that his injuries seemed to have improved a lot. He knew that An-yi must have healed him, and immediately said, "An-yi, my name is Ning Cheng. Thank you for saving me. If not for you, I would definitely be dead. Before, when I said that there were bandits trying to catch a nun, it was a lie. I apologize to you." Ning Cheng swallowed the 2 wheat cakes in a few mouthfuls. He took the kettle from An-yi and drank a mouthful. He sighed and asked, "An-yi, where did you come from? How did you appear in this vicinity? Ning Qing did not have the leisure to argue with this little nun about whether she was a nun or not, and immediately said, "Please do me a favor, take me away from this place, there are people who want to kill me." And Yi blinked her big eyes and asked, "Ning Qing, what do you mean by collecting information?" At this time Ning Qing smelled a faint fragrance. He immediately felt relieved and said, "Thank you, little nun, I did not think that a monk would like to put a little fragrance on their body." Hearing Ning Cheng's question, An Yi's eyes suddenly dimmed. Even if Ning Qing did not see it, he could feel the change in An Yi's demeanor. "Is there anything to eat?" After coming out from the cultivation tower, Ning Cheng was in a state of high tension. After running all the way, he was already hungry. Now that he was safe, he immediately felt hungry. He had never thought that it would be this kind of ending. His younger brother Gu Fei, who was at the Qi gathering 3rd level, was actually killed by Ning Qing. This was absolutely impossible. Ning Qing definitely had someone helping him, otherwise even if Ning Qing plotted against him, he would not be able to plot against Gu Fei, who was at the Qi gathering 3rd level. Ning Qing wanted to say that it was not the time to ask why, but he knew that the more he spoke, the more he would talk about it. He simply said in a weak voice, "I saw a few Qi gathering late-stage bandits trying to take a nun as a wife. After I saved the nun, those bandits chased me. They will soon arrive." Chapter 17. Is the place where you live far from here? Ning Qing asked again. After a period of adaptation, Ning Qing could vaguely see that this place was a cave. An Yi quickly said, "It's very far. I have looked in many places but could not find the heaven-scented precious zoisha. I walked further and further away. Now I estimate that the place where I live is 5 or 6 days away." What is the heaven-scented precious zoisha? Ning Qing was not clear about these spiritual grasses. The heaven-scented precious zoisha is a rank 3 spiritual grass. I heard that it can extend one's life by 12 years. I want to find this spiritual grass to extend my master's life. My master said that after she woke up from her seclusion, she would say goodbye to me. I am very worried about my master. Without my master, I do not know where I would go. An Yi's voice was getting lower and lower, and finally she was about to cry. Ning Qing was speechless. Although he did not understand about spiritual grasses, but he knew that a rank 3 spiritual grass was definitely a very high-level existence. If An Yi could find the heaven-scented precious zoisha so easily, then everyone would have come out to look for it. How could they wait for her? Thinking of this, Ning Qing comforted her. "I think that the most important thing for you now is to stay by your master's side. That rank 3 spiritual grass should not be easy to find. Besides, since this spiritual grass is called the heaven-scented precious zoisha, it will certainly emit a fragrance. Why would this spiritual grass wait for you to find it?" "It's not like that." An Yi quickly refuted Ning Cheng's words. "The heaven-scented precious zoisha only emits a fragrance after it is picked. If you do not touch it, it will have no smell. If you do not believe me, you can look at this." An Yi said as she handed Ning Qing a somewhat thick book. Ning Qing did not understand anything about spiritual grasses. Now that he received An Yi's book, he quickly put it away and said, "An Yi, the light is too dim, I can't see it clearly. Lend me this book for a few days. After you go back, I will return it to you, okay?" "Okay." After An Yi finished, she seemed to remember something, and quickly asked, "Ning Qing, do you want to go with me?" Ning Qing felt that his body had recovered some strength, and immediately said, "Of course, I not only want to go with you, but I want to go now. After dawn, we may not be able to leave." Ning Qing was not a simple An Yi. He was sure that Gu Yuming would not let him go. As long as Gu Yuming knew that he had killed Gu Fei, then he would definitely join forces with the Tsangqin province to besiege and kill him. Not to mention that the Tsangqin province had tacitly approved the extermination of the Ning clan. Even if the Tsangqin province had not tacitly approved the extermination of the Ning clan, with the status of Gu Yiming and the Gu clan, it would be easy for them to find someone from the Tsangqin province to seal this place. Those who are after you might not be able to find this place. I've stayed here for 2 nights, it's safe. An Yi did not have a little bit of brain. In her view, there were mountains everywhere. If the people who were chasing after Ning Qing wanted to find this place, it would be absolutely impossible. Ning Qing had to speak the truth. "An Yi, I am not a bad person, the people who want to kill me are not ordinary people. It is the Tsangchin province's king who wants to kill me, so he sent an army to look for me. If we stay here, only death awaits us. And he nodded, well, I believe that you are certainly not a bad person. Then I'll listen to you. Where do you think we should go? We will first go to the place where you live. Ning Cheng saw that An Yi had agreed to his words, and immediately stood up and said. He intended to send An Yi back first, and then go to the Mingat Sea area alone. An Yi was really too simple, not to mention that she was whimsically looking for the heaven-scented precious Zoisha. Even if she found the heaven-scented precious Zoisha, it would be a strange thing if she could bring it back. A fragrant spiritual grass on her body, it would be difficult for people to not covet it. My master has been in seclusion for 7 or 8 days, she should be out soon. I also have to go back early, but I did not find the heaven-scented precious Zoisha. An Yi's tone was low, it was obvious that she was not able to find the heaven-scented precious Zoisha. Let's go, don't worry about it. Ning Cheng first stood up, and called out to An Yi. An Yi followed behind Ning Cheng, and temporarily put down the matter of the heaven-scented precious Zoisha. Here, it really was the same as what An Yi had said, there were endless mountain ranges everywhere, one after another. Although Ning Cheng was seriously injured, but under the treatment of An Yi, he was already a lot better, plus he was a cultivator at the Qi-gathering 3rd level, so his speed was not slow. An Yi was also at the Qi-gathering 3rd level, plus she had already passed through this place once, so her speed was also very fast. The two people ran through the night, and when the sky was just beginning to brighten, they were already very far from the cave where they had been hiding. I'll carry you. An Yi saw that Ning Cheng was covered in blood, and was very tired, and said with some worry. Ning Cheng waved his hand and said, no, if you carry me, your speed will definitely slow down, I think you should go first. If we are really intercepted, you will also be implicated by me. An Yi did not understand as she looked at Ning Cheng and asked, you said that we have not escaped to a safe place yet? Ning Cheng nodded heavily, he was sure that they were not safe yet. With the power of the Tsangchin province, the distance that they had escaped to was still far from the control of the Tsangchin province. Originally he had thought that if he could see a huge forest along the way, he would hide in it, but now it seemed that he could not even think about it. There were mountains all along the way, although they could hide, but it was not as safe as a forest. Then let's escape again. An Yi quickly said. Ning Cheng shook his head and said, it's useless, even if we escape for another night, it would still be the same. Moreover, in our current situation, we would not be able to escape at full speed. After a pause, Ning Cheng took out the spiritual grass book that he had taken from An Yi's hands and gave it to An Yi, and then said, An Yi, you have a kind heart, if your master goes, you should not easily leave your residence. This book is for you, in case I get caught, it would be a pity if those bastards took away this book. No. An Yi quickly pushed him away. She and Ning Cheng were not familiar, but Ning Cheng's words unexpectedly gave her an indescribable sense of intimacy. Ta-ta-ta. A burst of rapid hoofbeats interrupted Ning Cheng's actions. Ning Cheng's first reaction was to pull An Yi and escape. But he was too tired, and the sound of the hoofbeats was too fast. In just a short time, they had already arrived at Ning Cheng's side. Young Master Ning. A familiar voice came. Ning Cheng immediately recognized the person who was driving the carriage. This person's face was covered with scars. It was the father of the child that he had saved. Is that you? Ning Cheng asked with some surprise, and then immediately thought about why this person would come here in a carriage so early in the morning. When this middle-aged man saw the bloodstains on Ning Cheng's body, he immediately understood what was going on, and quickly stopped the carriage and said, Young Master Ning, I have already heard about your matter at the relay station in front of us. You quickly change your clothes, and then sit in my carriage, I will take you away. Ning Cheng's heart warmed. When he had saved the little boy, this middle-aged man was so scared that he did not even have a word of thanks. Now that he was really in trouble, this person did not hesitate to help him. One must know, if he was caught, then he would definitely die. This sentence of no words of thanks, this middle-aged man did not say it out loud, but reflected it through his actions. This is too dangerous, I will go to the mountains to hide. Once you catch me sitting in your carriage, you will also be killed. Ning Qing still refused the kindness of this middle-aged man. This middle-aged man saw Ning Qing refuse, and hurriedly said, "You are the benefactor of my child, you are also the benefactor of my family. How can you say such words?" Saying that, this middle-aged man directly took out a set of clothes from the front of the carriage and handed it to Ning Cheng and said, "Benefactor, first change into clean clothes, your clothes have a heavy smell of blood." Ning Cheng gratefully took the clothes and asked, "Where are you going so early in the morning?" "I go to Ding Bai town every month, there are many adventurers coming back from the Mingot Sea, they bring a lot of animal skins and all kinds of things. Because many of the beast carriages cannot go directly to the Tsangla city, these beast carriages will stop at Ding Bai town. These adventurers will rent our carriage to go back to the Tsangla city. I and a few of the more familiar coachmen know that the road from here is closer, so we went this way. I did not expect to meet benefactor." This middle-aged man rubbed his hands, and said with gratitude. "Wait." Ning Cheng's mind flashed for a moment, and then eagerly asked, "You said that the Ding Bai town's relay station is not far from here? Also, when you came here, did you also pass by a relay station?" This middle-aged man immediately said in a dignified manner, "Yes, I came from the relay station in front of me, it only took me 3 hours, even if I go to the Ding Bai town's relay station, it would take me at most a day." Ning Cheng's heart sank. He did not think that he and an E would wander around for a whole night, and still wander between 2 relay stations. How could they still escape? This an E was too naive, she was actually looking for a rank 3 spiritual grass between 2 relay stations. If this matter was spread out, it would simply be a comedy. Seeing Ning Cheng turn silent, the middle-aged man hurriedly spoke up, "There will be another carriage coming soon, benefactor, you can get on my carriage, I will take you to another remote road that will allow us to walk out of this place, and bypass the Dimbi Town relay station." Ning Cheng knew that this was not the time to hesitate, he quickly changed his clothes. An E at this time also knew that she seemed to have gone the wrong way, and was somewhat embarrassed as she took Ning Cheng's clothes and burned them with a fireball. When the middle-aged man saw that an E was unexpectedly able to cast a fireball technique, his eyes showed even more respect. After Ning Cheng and an E got on the carriage, the man immediately drove the carriage and quickly left. After 10 minutes, the carriage turned a corner, and entered a narrow mountain trail. After half an hour, the sky was bright, the carriage had entered a more remote mountain trail, on both sides were continuous mountain ranges, even the sun was blocked by these continuous mountain ranges. The man driving the carriage was very skilled, and the carriage was even moving faster and faster. This kind of winding path, he should have passed through it countless times. Ning Cheng was secretly relieved, he knew that this time he should be on the right path. In this kind of place surrounded by mountain ranges, without a familiar person to lead the way, wanting to get out of this place, was really too difficult. "This big brother, may I ask what is your name?" "This time it is all thanks to you." Although Ning Cheng knew that they were still in danger, but he was still very grateful to the middle-aged man driving the carriage. Chapter 18. My name is Li Xiao, the benefactor that saved my son that day. Li Xiao spoke in a very fearful tone, he did not know whether it was because of Ning Cheng's previous identity as young Master Ning, or because he was grateful to Ning Cheng for saving his son. What made Ning Cheng feel slightly relieved was that after Li Xiao's carriage had been running for a day, even though the road they took was getting more and more remote, but there was still no one chasing after them. "Brother Li, let the horse rest. You can send us here, there shouldn't be much of a problem." Ning Cheng saw that the horse was already a bit tired, and took the initiative to speak. Li Xiao was also distressed about his 2 yellow horses, and listened to Ning Cheng's words, and stopped the carriage. At the same time, he took out some dry rations and gave them to Ning Cheng and an E, "Benefactor, you don't have to worry, wait for me to send you off, then we can bypass the Ding Bai town's relay station. Then I can go directly to the Sea City, there are also many adventurers coming back from the Mingot Sea, so I can get more silver coins from this trip." An E who had not spoken suddenly said, "Big brother Li, I have some impression of this place. You can go to Haiqing Bay first, I can take Ningqing out of here. Seeing that Li Xiao still wanted to speak, Ningqing simply spoke up, then let's do it this way, elder brother Li, can you send us to the place where we bypass the Dimbi town? Then we'll split up. Brother Li, you go to Haiqing North. And he originally did not have any idea, now that Ningqing said it like that, of course she would not have any objections. Ningqing rested for a day. He was also a cultivator at the Qi Gathering 3rd level, plus an Yi also knew how to heal. At this time his injuries had greatly improved. After the three of them rested their horses, they continued on their way. In the early morning of the next day, Ningqing and an Yi separated from Li Xiao. This time an Yi was not talking nonsense, she really knew the way. Although they had been walking on mountain trails, they did not go the wrong way. After walking for another 2 days, he finally brought Ningqing into a lush green forest. After entering the woods, an Yi directly pulled Ningqing's hand and said, there is an array formation here, you have to follow me closely, otherwise you will get lost. Ningqing had not come here for a day or two, as such he certainly knew about array formations. It seemed to have something to do with the ancient civilization of China. It was set up through a kind of orientation and something that he did not understand. It was very mysterious. In any case, he knew nothing about it. Following an Yi for 7 or 8 turns, they finally came out of the verdant forest, and what appeared in front of Ningqing was not a high mountain peak. At the foot of the mountain, there were a few acres of farmland, planted with some vegetables and the like. Halfway up the mountain, there was a grayish-brown nunnery. Ningqing could see the 3 words on top of the nunnery from afar. Lan Xan Nunnery. Is that Blue Heart Nunnery where you live? Ningqing asked. An Yi let go of Ningqing's hand, her face showed a trace of a happy smile and said, yes, I grew up here since I was a child, this time I went out for a few days, my heart was always thinking about it, now I am finally back. I want to see Master. Come with me. As an Yi said this, she accelerated her pace and rushed towards the Lan Xian Nunnery on the mountainside. Ningqing followed behind an Yi, his heart was somewhat uncertain. An Yi was already at the Qi Gathering 3rd level, and Yi's master's cultivation level would certainly not be too bad. If an Yi's master was eccentric, then what should he do? This was not Earth. There was no reason to speak of here. Come in. A slightly old voice sounded in Ningqing's ears. Ningqing knew that this was definitely an Yi's master, and Yi's master already knew that he had come. Ningqing walked through the mottled door, and a faint smell of sandalwood wafted into his nose. This made Ningqing very surprised. An Yi had said that her master was going to die, but there was not even the slightest smell of decay, there was even the smell of sandalwood. An Yi's master looked like a middle-aged woman, she was wearing a grey robe, and was sitting in the middle of the main nunnery. She did not look old, but her face was a little pale. Ningqing could still feel a trace of death qi from her body. It was obvious that an Yi had said that her master was going to die, this was true. What surprised Ningqing was not that she did not look old or that she was going to die soon, nor was he unable to see her cultivation level. But an Yi's master was not a nun, because she had long hair. Even if she was surrounded by the death qi, her long hair was still jet black, but it lacked some luster. Although an Yi has always regarded me as her master, but the fact is that I can't teach her anything. Presumably, you can also see that I am about to die. An Yi has a kind heart, and has not experienced the ways of the world. If you can, I hope that you can take an Yi with you, until the day she can become independent. The grey-robed woman looked at Ningqing and said calmly. She did not ask how Ningqing came together with an Yi, nor did she ask about Ningqing's origin, nor did she ask about Ningqing's injuries, she just spoke a few straightforward words. An Yi was suddenly shocked. Master, I will not leave you, I will always stay in the Blue Heart Nunnery. How can I go with Ningqing? Ningqing is just passing through here. Ningqing also hurriedly said, Senior, this junior wants to go to the Mingot Sea. I heard that it is extremely dangerous, and can be killed at any time. Moreover, this junior also has a few enemies. An Yi staying in the Blue Heart Nunnery is much safer than following this junior. Ning Qing did not speak these words blindly, he was still somewhat worried about An Yi. An Yi was as pure as a piece of white paper, but now that he came to the Blue Heart Nunnery, Ning Qing was not worried about her. This place was protected by an array formation, ordinary people would not be able to come in. An Yi's master sighed, took An Yi's hand and said in a kind voice, I will eventually go, you do not have to treat me as your master, this place looks safe, but in fact it is extremely dangerous. Once I leave, you will not be able to live if you stay here alone. Then she no longer tried to persuade An Yi, and turned to look at Ning Qing and said, when a person is about to die, you can see a few things. No matter how you met An Yi, I believe that you are not a cunning person, so I would like to ask if you are engaged or married. When Ning Qing heard these words, he immediately thought that An Yi's master wanted to marry An Yi to him. How could he marry a nun as his wife? Even if An Yi was not a nun, it was impossible for him to marry An Yi. After understanding this, Ning Qing quickly said, I have a girlfriend, although we recently had some small conflicts and broke up, I still want to get her back. Ning Qing said this, and sighed in his heart. Not to mention that he knew that Tian Muwan's resolute attitude at that time, certainly could not be changed. Even if Tian Muwan changed her mind, would he be able to see her again? Thinking of this, Ning Qing once again added, I also have a fiancée, she just temporarily left. Ning Qing really could not continue to speak, even he himself, knew that his fiancée Ji Luo Fei would not have even half a shred of relationship with him. Not to mention that he would not be able to reach the Hua continent, even if he could reach the Hua continent, Ji Luo Fei and him were already in the past. He was very grateful to Ji Luo Fei, but to say that he really liked Ji Luo Fei, that was also not the case. What Ning Qing did not expect was that this gray-robed middle-aged woman, after listening to Ning Cheng's words, nodded and said, then I am relieved, you have to remember, An Yi and you can be together, but she absolutely cannot get married. Also absolutely cannot have any emotional disputes with anyone, otherwise. She had not even finished her sentence, when the gray-robed woman's mouth overflowed with a faint trace of blood. An Yi quickly hugged the gray-robed middle-aged woman and cried out, Master, what's wrong with you? Ning Qing did not think that this gray-robed woman would ask him if he was engaged, but to remind him not to have any ideas about An Yi, it turned out that he was mistaken. An Yi unexpectedly cannot get married, no wonder she was a little nun, but he did not know the reason for this. But then he saw that the gray-robed woman's expression was even more dispirited. Ning Qing did not dare to say anything. The gray-robed woman waved her hand at An Yi, and took out a yellow jade and hung it around An Yi's neck, and then took out a brown cloth bag and hung it around An Yi's waist, and said, An Yi, when I first picked you up, this jade was by your side, presumably it was left behind by your parents. This bag is a storage bag that I have been using for many years, remember not to casually take it out and let others see it. Also, you must remember, you cannot get married. Saying that, she stared at Ning Qing and said, please be sure to take care of An Yi. An Yi will not be an ordinary person in the future, she will not treat you badly. Ning Qing cupped his fists and said, my life was saved by An Yi, senior please rest assured, as long as Ning Qing is still breathing, I will absolutely not let An Yi get hurt. An Yi, I have to go, you have to live well, do not be sad. What will come, what will go. You still have a long way to go, you have to take care of yourself. After the gray-robed woman finished, she looked up at the empty sky outside the nunnery, sighed slightly, with a little loneliness in her eyes, she slowly closed her eyes. An Yi was already at the Qi gathering 3rd level, her master had passed away, her vitality had dissipated, she immediately knew, and suddenly burst into tears. Even if she already knew that her master's life was coming to an end, she still could not accept this fact. Ning Qing knew that the gray-robed woman must have been waiting for An Yi to come back, otherwise she might have already passed away. He stepped forward and patted An Yi's shoulder and said, An Yi, birth, old age, sickness and death, this is human nature. You do not have to be too sad, in the future we will also reach this step, it is only a matter of time. Ning Qing said and sighed, he did not know when he died, would he be able to see his sister Ruolan again. An Yi's master's cultivation was obviously dozens of times stronger than his, even so, it was still difficult to escape from the natural order of the world. And Yi knew that Ning Cheng's persuasion was right, but she could not contain the sadness in her heart. For more than a decade, she had always lived with her master, and depended on each other for survival. Now that her master suddenly passed away, she was at a loss. Ning Cheng looked at Yi, and knew that he had to deal with these things. Under Ning Cheng's persuasion, Yi was finally able to gradually ease the sadness in her heart. Then together with Ning Cheng, she buried her master behind the Blue Heart Nunnery. After accompanying Yi in the Blue Heart Nunnery for 3 days, Ning Cheng and Yi left the Blue Heart Nunnery, and continued on their way to the Mingat Sea. In these 3 days, with the help of Yi, Ning Cheng's injuries had already recovered by 70 to 80%. But Yi's mood became depressed. She was originally an introverted person who did not speak much. After this incident, Yi's words became even less. Although Ning Cheng wanted to see what was in the storage bag of Yi, but he was too embarrassed to open his mouth. Chapter 19. Ji Luofei opened her eyes in a daze, but what she saw was a room that was not very big. There were a total of 6 people in the room, and she was lying on a wooden couch. In addition to her, there was also Zhuang Tianya, Jian Su Jia and Dan Xiangling, but she did not know the other 2. Where is this? What about Ning Cheng? Ji Luofei reacted and quickly sat up and asked anxiously. Dan Xiangling did not speak much, moreover Jian Su Jia and Ji Luofei were simply not the same kind of people. As for the other 2 girls that Ji Luofei did not know, they would not say anything. Only Zhuang Tianya said, "Now we are on an airship-type artifact heading towards the Hua continent. The airship has just passed through the Dan forest. We should be able to approach the Yuan continent in a few days." Yuan continent? What about Ning Cheng? Ji Luofei suddenly jumped down from the wooden couch, and after asking that sentence, she did not wait for Zhuang Tianya to answer, and immediately asked, "What about my aunt? Did she bring Ning Cheng here?" Zhuang Tianya remained silent. Ji Luofei immediately understood what was going on, as she turned around and was about to rush out. Zhuang Tianya was greatly shocked, as she quickly grabbed Ji Luofei and spoke in a startled voice, "Do you not want to live anymore? Even if I don't want my life, I will go and save Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng stays in the Changqing province alone, he will not be able to survive." Ji Luofei anxiously said, "Quickly let me go." Zhuang Tianya did not let go of Ji Luofei, but just sighed and said, "Luofei, if you rush out like this, and want to return to the Changqing province, not only would you not be able to live, even your aunt would be heavily punished. Moreover, you absolutely would not be able to return to the Changqing province. Do you know the cultivation level of the senior on this ship?" It was a profound congealing realm senior. "Your aunt is just a teacher of an academy, she can only bring you back to the Hua continent's Falling Star Academy, a lot of things." Ji Luofei calmed down and did not continue with the impulse to go out. She certainly knew about the profound congealing realm. Only after reaching the Great Circle of Essence Building 9th level, would one be able to attack the profound congealing realm. Moreover, to be able to advance to the profound congealing realm was even rarer. In the lower class continents, each and every profound congealing realm powerhouse was in existence with a very high status. In the essence building realm, one must transform their true essence into true liquid, and cast their foundation. At the same time, it could be said that the essence building realm was a watershed for a cultivator. But in the profound congealing realm, after reaching the perfection of the essence building 9th level, the true liquid would gather, and in the dantian would form the embryonic form of a core lake. As his cultivation solidified, his core lake would expand and become thicker. At the same time, his spiritual force would also become stronger. The cultivators who formed their core lake were much more powerful than those in the essence building realm. Her aunt was able to kill 2 chi-gathering 6th level cultivators in such a simple manner, but a profound congealing realm cultivator could also kill her aunt in the same manner. Seeing Ji Luofei's hands trembling, Zhuang Tianya continued, "Besides, even if you go back, you would not be able to save Ning Cheng. What's more, can you even go back? What happened to him?" Ji Luofei asked in a trembling voice. Zhuang Tianya did not conceal anything and spoke. When Ning Cheng was leaving the academy, because he heard Gu Fei insulting you, he immediately clashed with Gu Fei. In the end, he was challenged by Gu Fei. Ji Luofei clenched her fists, causing her hands to turn blue. In fact, the thing that left the deepest impression on her about Ning Cheng was not the fact that they had lived under the same roof for many years, but the memory of the time when she had helped Ning Cheng kill Xian Yuankue and helped Ning Cheng escape. Although it was only a short period of time, but the impression that Ning Cheng gave her was much more than all the previous impressions combined. Don't be nervous. Just listen to me. Luofei, you know my qualifications, you remember to avenge me after you leave. I don't want to die without anyone to avenge me. Luofei, you're not ugly. Ning Cheng's words seemed to be ringing in her ears, but what about Ning Cheng? To really know a person, sometimes even after many years, you might not be able to clearly understand them. Sometimes, even if it was just a moment, it would feel like a lifetime. Ji Luofei felt that in the short period of time that she had been in contact with Ning Cheng, she had already completely understood Ning Cheng. What happened to Ning Cheng? Although Ji Luofei knew that Ning Cheng had met with disaster, but she still held on to Zhuang Tianya's tone and anxiously asked. Zhuang Tianya could feel Ji Luofei's hands trembling, causing her to sigh slightly in her heart. In her opinion, Ning Cheng was far from worthy of Ji Luofei. She really could not understand why Ji Luofei was so concerned about Ning Cheng. Zhuang Tianya comfortingly patted Ji Luofei's hand and spoke. Gu Fei challenged Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng proposed to compete with Gu Fei in terms of speed. Ning Cheng should have wanted to use this method to escape, but the difference between his and Gu Fei's cultivation was too big, moreover there was also Gu Yumming on the side. Ji Luofei was not aware that her palms had already started to bleed. She was very clear that although Ning Cheng's ability to handle things was much stronger than hers. But in the face of absolute strength, what could Ning Cheng do? Ning Cheng, I will definitely avenge you. I will not let you die without anyone to avenge you. Ji Luofei engraved these words in her heart. In the future when her cultivation reached a certain level, she would definitely come back to kill Gu Yumming. There was also that Song Qin province's king, and, Ji Luofei coldly looked at Jian Su Jia next to her. She was very clear that Ning Cheng had not done anything to Jian Su Jia. The destruction of the Ning clan was definitely related to Jian Su Jia. In the future, if she had the opportunity, she would also help Ning Cheng kill Jian Su Jia and Qiu Yingguang. Seeing Ji Luofei's cold eyes, Jian Su Jia felt her entire body turn cold. But she quickly reacted, as if she knew what Ji Luofei was thinking. She also looked at Ji Luofei with cold eyes and spoke. You want to help Ning Cheng take revenge? Jian Su Jia, will take care of it. Your Jian clan and Qiu clan collaborated to frame Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had not even reached the Qi gathering realm before. How could he be rude to you? My eyes are not blind. Ning Cheng is gone, I will help him finish his things. Ji Luofei's tone was completely devoid of even the slightest emotion. Even Zhuang Tianya, who was standing on the side, couldn't help but tremble in her heart. She had a feeling that Ji Luofei had changed, turning into a person that she did not know at all. She was no longer the Ji Luofei who had sealed herself in ice, but still remained kind. Although Jian Su Jia's heart also trembled, she still said, Ning Cheng molested me was a fact. I later came to know that he was framed by someone, but it was definitely not me. Moreover, I am also a victim. Because of this, I did not continue to kill him, and even saved him once. Believe it or not, it is up to you. Ji Luofei closed her eyes, and slowly sat down. She simply no longer paid attention to Jian Su Jia. For a month, Ning Cheng and Annie had to take detours. Annie was even more silent, but she was not completely useless. At least she could cook and knew all kinds of spiritual grasses, but she did not eat meat. Ning Cheng never ate any of the prey that Ning Cheng hunted. Ning Cheng never cared about what Annie ate, he just studied the spiritual grass book that Annie had given him along the way. At this time, compared to when he had just come out from Tsanglu City, he had made a lot of progress. At least he could recognize the general spiritual grasses. Annie was a lot more silent, but she was even more dependent on Ning Cheng. Every time Ning Cheng went out to hunt, she would feel anxious and uneasy. Only when Ning Cheng came back, did she calm down. Her master's death was a big blow to her. On this day, Ning Cheng and Annie once again crossed over a huge mountain. The two of them could already smell the smell of the sea. Ning Cheng was extremely excited. Even if everything was strange, the sea was still the same as it was in his previous life, at least on the surface it was the same. Thinking that he was about to go to the boundless sea, Ning Cheng felt that his heart had also become boundless. He even longed to find the beach, and then shout, "I finally see the sea again." But when Ning Cheng looked back and saw that Annie was still silent, this passionate impulse immediately subsided. He smiled at Annie and said, "Annie, why did your master say that you cannot marry?" Ning Cheng was afraid that if Annie continued like this for a long time, she would suffer from depression. Annie did not understand this, but that did not mean that he did not understand. "I do not know, master said that I cannot marry, so I will not marry." "Didn't you also tell me that a monk cannot marry?" Annie looked at Ning Cheng with big eyes and said. Ning Cheng looked at Annie's bright and clear eyes, and then looked at her thinner face. He felt a little sad for her in his heart. He immediately put aside those emotions, and still smiled at Annie and said, "Annie, in my hometown, a monk can also marry. Big brother Ning, do you want me to marry you?" Annie immediately asked. When she was with Ning Cheng, she would never hide the doubts in her heart. After getting along with Ning Cheng for more than a month, she finally upgraded Ning Cheng to Big Brother Ning. Ning Cheng rubbed his hair in distress and said, "No, I already have a girlfriend. What I mean is," Annie smiled and said, "Big Brother Ning, you don't have to worry about me. Thank you for taking care of me along the way. My master passed away. I was just sad in my heart. Now I have gradually figured it out. You don't have to specifically comfort me." Ning Cheng stared at Annie. Now who said that this little nun was stupid, he would be angry with them. She had always known what he was thinking in his heart, but was not willing to say it. Seeing Ning Cheng in a daze, Annie suddenly said, "Big brother Ning, I have always been grateful to you. Without your company, after my master passed away, I really did not know what to do." With that, she took the initiative to ask for the first time, "Big brother Ning, you said that you have a girlfriend, and then your girlfriend had a little conflict with you and broke up. Do you still want to look for her?" Ning Cheng did not think that Annie would even remember this sentence. He had initially tricked Annie's master with this sentence. With Annie's sad situation, she unexpectedly still remembered it. Women really do not know what they are thinking, whether it was a nun or not, it was the same. "No, I can't find her now." Ning Cheng shook his head and said. Annie once again asked, "Big brother Ning, if you can find her, will you look for her?" Ning Cheng was silent. Tian Muwan did not give any explanation, and treated him like this. A woman throwing a little temper was nothing, but Tian Muwan should not have given the pearl hair clip to Cha Ziyi. But Cha Ziyi had thrown the pearl hair clip into the sewer. Tian Muwan even asked Cha Ziyi to help her buy another one. No matter what Tian Muwan was thinking, Ning Cheng felt that it would be very difficult for him to return to the way he treated her before. He had given the two pearl hair clips, which represented the two people closest to him. He regarded Tian Muwan as a family member just like his sister Ruolan. Tian Muwan had borrowed Cha Ziyi's hand to throw away the pearl hair clip, which was equivalent to throwing away his sincerity towards Tian Muwan. Chapter 20. Ning Cheng did not answer, because a sharp piercing sound interrupted his contemplation. A gray shadow with a whistling sound flew not far in front of him. A moment later, another black shadow chased after it. After a few breaths, the two shadows disappeared without a trace. Ning Cheng's heart skipped a beat. He saw that the shadow was an artifact. He had seen Ji Luo Fei's ant's artifact before. He had heard that there were hundreds of countries in the Hua continent, and there were countless forces that came to the Mingat Sea to gain experience and look for resources. Now it seemed that it really was the case. The two shadows were obviously not cultivators from the Tsangqin province. To have a flight-type artifact, they were definitely at the late stages of the true condensation realm, or even the essence-building realm. It seems that to survive in the Mingat Sea, it would not be an easy thing to do. Ning Cheng's excitement a moment ago immediately decreased a lot. He began to think about how to survive in this place. Even an Yi could see that the two people were chasing after one of them, and both her and Ning Cheng's cultivation level was very low. She was not sure about Ning Cheng's cultivation level, but it did not seem to be high. An Yi, we have to be careful, it seems that there are dangers everywhere in the Mingot Sea. Ning Cheng quickly pulled an Yi down from the high place, and came to a remote place on the side of the road. An Yi also forgot to ask Ning Cheng, she gave an N sound, and closely followed Ning Cheng. If she was alone now, she would not know what to do. An Yi, your storage bag, you have to keep it safe, do not reveal it. Ning Cheng once again thought of an Yi's storage bag. Once an Yi revealed her storage bag, not only would an Yi be destroyed, he would also be destroyed. An Yi quickly put her hands on her waist. Big brother Ning, I will take it off and put it on you, it is not safe on me. Ning Cheng stopped an Yi's actions. An Yi, this storage bag was left for you by your master, you can keep it close to your body, there might be some things inside, it is not good to put it on me. Ning Cheng originally wanted to look at an Yi's storage bag, but then he thought that an Yi's master must have passed on something to an Yi. If he took it, it would be tantamount to looking at other people's privacy. An Yi quickly said, Big brother Ning, this is not a storage bag, it is a storage bag. There was a difference between a storage bag and a storage bag. A storage bag was smaller, while a storage bag had more space. This thing can be communicated with telepathic thoughts, and the inside is made up of a spatial array formation. Larger items can be placed inside. Ning Cheng finally understood that there was a difference between a storage bag and a storage bag, thinking that a small storage bag could hold a lot of things. Ning Cheng's heart was somewhat itchy, he really wanted to have this kind of bag. After experiencing this matter a moment ago, Ning Cheng took an Yi as far as possible and walked along the smaller paths. Big brother Ning, there is a relay station there. An Yi knew that Ning Cheng was worried about her, and spoke a little more. It seemed as if he had hidden the pain of his master's passing away in his heart. Along the way, he also took the initiative to ask Ning Cheng about some things, but he did not ask about Ning Cheng's girlfriend. He also did not ask Ning Cheng, what was a girlfriend. Ning Cheng also saw the relay station in the distance, although the relay station did not look big, but Ning Cheng still stopped. Big brother Ning, Big brother Li Xiao said that after crossing the Ding Bai town relay station, we will be out of the Changqing province's territory. Although there is a relay station in front, maybe it is not from the Changqing province. An Yi saw Ning Cheng stop, and was even a little careful, and took the initiative to say a few words. Ning Cheng nodded, that's right, let's go and have a look first. The relay station was not big, it was purely a relay station. In addition to a dozen guards, there was also a hotel. The largest place in the relay station was where the beast carts were parked. Many of the owners of the beast carts were calling out to customers. The words above the relay station made Ning Cheng completely relieved. Fire Country's Yi River Relay Station. Ning Cheng and an Yi had just arrived, when a short-haired woman with a rough face greeted them. Two friends, are you going to the Mingot Sea? Sit in my beast carriage, it only costs 20 gold coins per person. Ning Cheng was startled, 20 gold coins per person. Was this still only? Before Li Xiao had said that he only needed a few dozen silver coins per trip, how could the price here be so high? Isn't the price too high? Ning Cheng was not sure if this woman wanted to rip him off or not, and hesitantly asked. This rough short-haired woman froze for a moment, she had not yet answered, when a person came from the side and said, Friend, this price is not high. Not to mention that the Mingot Sea from here is more than 10 days away, even the dangers of the Mingot Sea are worth this much gold coins. The coachmen here have their heads pinned on the waist of their trousers, if it is not necessary, it is best not to bargain. The one who spoke was a man with a short beard on his face, it seemed that he was only at the Qi Gathering 3rd level. But his tone of voice was very gentle, and did not make people feel any abrupt. From the Qi Gathering 3rd level to the Qi Gathering 4th level was a threshold. In contrast, the cultivators at the Qi Gathering 3rd level were more than 10 times more than the Qi Gathering 4th level. Ning Qing quickly cupped his fists and said, "Many thanks for this friend's explanation. My sister and I are going to the Mingat Sea for the first time. We do not know the market here." For this friend to say, 20 gold coins is really not that high. Speaking of his sister, Ning Qing immediately thought of Ning Rulan. His heart was even more worried about her. And he used a white headscarf to cover her head. One would not be able to see that she was a nun. Ning Qing said that An Yi was his sister. This short-bearded man did not think that Ning Qing was lying. He nodded and said, "Elder sister, his beast carriage has a very good reputation. I am also going to the Mingat Sea. I also intend to sit in elder sister his beast carriage. Let's go together." Ning Qing said with some embarrassment, "I do not have a single gold coin on me. I really want to go to the Mingat Sea immediately, but I can't." The most valuable things on his body right now were only two things. One was the knife in his bag, which he had snatched from Gu Fei's hands. The other was the chi-gathering stone that Ji Luo Fei had given him. This chi-gathering stone, he had never thought of using it. In addition to this, there were the 2 leather scrolls from the Ning family. At this time, he regretted killing Gu Fei. He did not carefully search Gu Fei's body. Maybe there were some valuable things on him. This short-bearded man looked at Ning Qing, and said with a smile, "A cultivator at the Chi-gathering 3rd level, there are not many who are as poor as this friend. The gold coins for this beast carriage, I will help you out. It can also be considered as making friends." After Ning Qing heard the words of the short-bearded man, he immediately cupped his fists and said, "Many thanks to this friend. After I arrive at the Mingat Sea, I will definitely find a way to return it." If Ning Qing had not offended Gu Yiming, he really did not want to owe this favor. Now for Ning Qing, it was better to leave the Changqing province as far as possible. There were all kinds of people in the Mingat Sea. Even if it was the Changqing province in the Mingat Sea, it was the safest place to go. "It's just a trifling 40 gold coins, you don't have to return it. My name is Feng Fei Zhang. I have been traveling between the Mingat Sea and the Yi River. Although if I send the goods back to the Fire Country, I can earn twice as much, but I would rather sell my own things here. It would save me a lot of time." The short-bearded man said with a smile. "My name is Ning Qing, this is my cousin An Yi." Ning Qing temporarily changed his younger sister to cousin. These 2 people were brother and sister. If their surnames were not the same, then how could they be called brother and sister? Feng Fei Zhang did not mind Ning Cheng's words, and was still very interested in the introduction. "The Mingat Sea is full of gold coins, as long as you have the ability. Like me, if I am unable to advance to the middle stages of the Chi-gathering realm, then when I earn enough gold coins, I can go back and establish my own clan." "Brother Feng, is the Mingat Sea full of killing intents?" Ning Qing heard Feng Fei Zhang say that he was in the Mingat Sea, so he wanted to inquire about the situation of the Mingat Sea from him. After listening to Ning Cheng's words, Feng Fei Zhang's expression became dignified. "Yes, brother Ning. In the Mingat Sea, our cultivation level is considered to be the worst, only slightly better than some of the lowest level adventurers. I can only fish for some things near the sea. I simply do not dare to go further. But the Mingat Sea is rich in resources. There are too many people near the sea. If you want to find something better, it would be very difficult." After a pause, Feng Fei Zhang continued, "To go to the Mingat Sea you have to form a team. Over the years, I have formed a team with many of my friends. But there are not many who can really come back. I have witnessed a lot of my friends fall in front of me, but there is no way to save them. I think, maybe one day, I will be like them, forever staying in the Mingat Sea." An Yi had been living in a safe place with her master, so she did not have much of an idea about this. But Ning Qing was very worried, although he was at the Chi-gathering 3rd level, but his fighting experience was not rich. The reason why he was able to kill Gu Fei was entirely because Gu Fei thought that he was at the Chi-gathering 1st level. Even so, he was still seriously injured by Gu Fei's attack before he died. What worried Ning Qing the most was that his qualifications were very poor. He simply could not advance. If he was able to easily advance from the Chi-gathering 1st level to the Chi-gathering 3rd level like he did in the Tsangla city, then he would definitely improve his own cultivation level, and then go to the Mingat Sea. Feng Fei Zhang saw that Ning Qing seemed to be very worried, and took the initiative to speak up. In fact, as long as you are careful, you will not necessarily die in the Mingot Sea. I have been in the Mingot Sea for almost 10 years, but I am still doing well. When the time comes, we can form a team together, and I will tell you how to survive in the Mingot Sea. Ning Qing cupped his fists in gratitude and said, Brother Feng is so enthusiastic, Ning Qing would like to thank you. Going to the Mingot Sea was a dangerous place. Of course the people who formed a team must have rich experience, the stronger the better, but he had no experience at all. Feng Fei Zhang was willing to bring him and an Yi. If he did not have any bad intentions, then he was really warm-hearted. With his and an Yi's attire, other people would know that they were not good people. Feng Fei Zhang was obviously a warm-hearted person. Sister He, are there any seats in the car? We also want to go to the Mingot Sea. Along with the voice, two people came over. It was a man and a woman. The man's appearance was not bad, but there was a red scar on his face, which directly disfigured him. The woman looked a bit strange. She was obviously very flirtatious, but if you looked carefully, she was a dignified and demure lady. Chapter 21. The man and woman who came over obviously knew Sister He. Yes, we'll be leaving soon. Sister He said in a loud voice. In this short period of time, Sister He had gathered 5 people. Ning Qing, an Yi, and the others followed Sister He to her beast carriage. They saw that this beast carriage was not any smaller than an ordinary commercial vehicle on Earth. The one pulling the carriage was not a horse, but a beast that Ning Qing had seen before. Ning Qing had seen this kind of beast in Songla City, but at that time it was pure white, while this one was a mixed color. Ning Qing had heard Jian Su Jia say that it was called the single-horned stone beast. This single-horned stone beast was pulling such a big carriage, and there were so many people, could it even move it? Li Shao's carriage also used 2 horses. Get on the carriage, we'll be leaving soon. After Sister He said that, she was already sitting in front of the carriage. After Ning Qing, an Yi, and the others got on the carriage, they found that there was already a person in the carriage. This person was an old man, with the same cultivation level of Qi gathering 3rd level. Although they were both at Qi gathering 3rd level, Ning Qing felt that this old man's cultivation level was a lot higher than Feng Fei Zhang's. When the old man saw Ning Qing and the others get on the carriage, he just glanced at them indifferently, and then continued to close his eyes. Just by opening and closing his eyes for a short period of time, Ning Qing felt a murderous aura. Ning Qing knew that this murderous aura was not directed at him, nor was it directed at the people here, but because this old man had an invisible murderous aura. Obviously, this was a person who was extremely fierce in killing. An Yi sat next to Ning Qing. She also felt the murderous aura of this old man, and moved closer to Ning Qing, not daring to look at this old man. Sister He sat in the driver's seat, the whip in her hand whistled through the air. The single-horned stone beast immediately roared, and rushed out with its hooves. Such a big carriage, under the pull of it, did not even slow down for half a moment. Not only that, the speed of the carriage did not seem to be slow. The only drawback was that the carriage was somewhat bumpy. Ning Qing and the others were sitting in the bumpy carriage. They could see the scenery outside through the transparent window. The people sitting on the beast carriages were all people who had experienced life and death battles, so their eyes were incomparably sinister. Ning Qing and an Yi could tell at a glance that they had not experienced any kind of slaughter. For these 2 people to go to the Mingot Sea, besides Feng Fei Zhang, who still had some thoughts of helping them, the other 3 people were sneering in their hearts. Ning Qing and an Yi were simply courting death. You must be Miao Xiuming and Tian Fei, right? I've heard a lot about you, and it is my honor to be able to sit on the same beast carriage as you. Feng Fei Zhang was a passionate person, and took the initiative to greet the man and woman sitting opposite him. The man with the red scar on his face did not expect Feng Fei Zhang to know him, but he was not surprised. Although his cultivation level was low, but he and his wife were very ruthless, and if they joined hands, they would not even be afraid of a powerful early-stage Qi-gathering cultivator. In the periphery of the Mingot Sea, he was also somewhat famous. That's right, I am Miao Xiuming, and this is my beloved Tian." The man with the red scar on his face did not finish his words, as he stared at Ning Cheng and gave a cold snort. It was obvious that Ning Cheng was staring at his beloved, and in his heart he was very unhappy. Feng Fei Zhang also discovered Ning Cheng's rudeness, and quickly coughed. Ning Cheng came back to his senses. He awkwardly cupped his fists, but did not explain anything. He knew that this kind of thing, there was no way to explain it. When he heard that the woman opposite him was called Tian Fei, he immediately thought of Tian Muwan, and for a time was somewhat absent-minded. He was staring at Tian Fei, but in fact, his eyes did not even have an image of Tian Fei. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not continue to be rude, Miao Xiaoming also did not attack. But in his heart, he had already regarded Ning Cheng as a person who needed to be taught a lesson. He deliberately looked at an Yi who was sitting next to Ning Cheng. Originally an Yi had a white cloth wrapped around her head, and was wearing an ordinary blue robe. She looked plain and unremarkable. Before he did not care about it. But when Miao Xiaoming carefully looked at an Yi, his heart suddenly became fiery. An Yi was too delicate and pretty. She was simply like a fairy in the mortal world. She sat there quietly, as clear as a white lotus. He had seen too many beautiful women before, but he had never seen such a pure and quiet woman like an Yi, who made his heart beat unceasingly. This woman was really too pure. He must get his hands on her. Miao Xiaoming secretly clenched his fists. "I don't know if Brother Miao has heard of the golden cicada fruit." Feng Fei Zhang quickly changed the topic, and took the initiative to ask. Hearing Feng Fei Zhang's words, Miao Xiaoming recovered, and immediately said, "Brother Feng, are you talking about someone who brought out the golden cicada fruit from the Lansha Island in the Mingat Sea?" Feng Fei Zhang smiled and said, "Brother Miao really heard about this matter. If I can get a golden cicada fruit, it would almost be worth a lifetime of hard work in the Mingat Sea." Miao Xiaoming seemed to have forgotten about Ning Cheng's rudeness, and said, "The Lansha Island indeed has people who came out, and more than one of them. I heard that after they formed a team to go in, no one was able to come out. Besides, the golden cicada fruit is not something that we can get our hands on. Even if we get a golden cicada fruit, it would only make us lose our lives a little faster." Feng Fei Zhang did not know that Miao Xiaoming was already eyeing an Yi. His original intention was to divert Miao Xiaoming's attention from Ning Cheng. Now that he heard Miao Xiaoming's words, he immediately nodded and said, "Yes, even if we get the golden cicada fruit, and do not lose our lives, there is no way to refine the golden cicada fruit into a true condensation pill." Ning Cheng had recently studied the characteristics of spiritual grasses and various kinds of spiritual grasses. The golden cicada fruit was a spiritual fruit that he had heard about. It was a rank 3 spiritual root, and could be refined into a true condensation pill. The true condensation pill was used by cultivators at the Qi gathering 9th level to advance to the true condensation realm. What Feng Fei Zhang meant was, even if an ordinary cultivator obtained the golden cicada fruit, they would not be able to refine it into a true condensation pill. How could a pill master help a Qi gathering cultivator refine a pill? In fact, Ning Cheng also knew that Feng Fei Zhang had another meaning, not to mention that even if they obtained the golden cicada fruit, they would not be able to refine it into a true condensation pill. Even if they could refine it into a pill, so what? They were only at the Qi gathering 3rd level, and the true condensation pill was for cultivators at the Qi gathering 9th level to use. It was still 108,000 miles away. The old man who had his eyes closed suddenly opened his eyes and said, "In fact, the Lansha Island is not that terrible. As long as you master a kind of array formation, you can safely go in and out. But if you want to get the golden cicada fruit, the chances are very low." "What?" The words of the old man immediately attracted the attention of Feng Fei Zhang, Miao Xiaoming and Tian Fei Zhang. The three of them could not believe what they were hearing. Annie lowered her head and did not know what she was thinking. She did not even hear the conversation between the few people. Although Ning Cheng heard it clearly, but he was not interested. Regardless of whether what the old man said was true or false, even if it was true, even if he obtained the golden cicada fruit, it would not be of any use to him. What's more, he was sure that the words of the old man were not true. Moreover, he also believed that Feng Fei Zhang and Miao Xiaoming did not believe the words of the old man. They were only surprised because the old man's words were too outrageous. You may think that my words are deceptive, but I can clearly tell you that my words are not false even for half a word. The Lansha Island is easy to enter and easy to leave, but to get the golden cicada fruit, you need to have a great opportunity. The old man continued. Miao Xiaoming could not help but ask, "Friend, since the Lansha Island is so easy to enter and also so easy to leave, then why are there so many cultivators who have entered the Lansha Island and not able to come out?" That is because they do not understand array formations. The Lansha Island is shrouded in a sea fog. It is actually an array formation. Every month, only on the 15th day of the month can one enter the island. Moreover, one must be proficient in this kind of array formation. And the reason why I was able to enter the Lansha Island several times, and come out several times, is also because I am proficient in this kind of array formation. The old man said proudly, with a trace of disdain in his tone. "Friend, you said that you have been in and out of the Lansha Island several times? The Mingat Sea area's Lansha Island?" Feng Fei Zhang asked in disbelief. He felt that the old man did not seem to be lying. After the old man heard Feng Fei Zhang's words, he did not have his previous disdain, but rather said in a somewhat dispirited manner, "Although I have been in and out of the Lansha Island several times, but I have not obtained anything good. I have also seen the golden cicada fruit, but I have never obtained it, alas." "You have seen the golden cicada fruit?" This sentence was almost simultaneously asked by Feng Fei Zhang and Miao Xiaoming. Chapter 22. Of course, but unless your luck is particularly good, otherwise even if you enter the Lansha Island, and find the golden cicada fruit, you will not be able to get it. The old man said in an unquestionable tone. "Why?" The woman called Tian Fei could not help but ask. The old man said in a deep voice, "Because the golden cicada fruit tree is surrounded by a rank 5 killing array, any cultivator who covets the golden cicada fruit tree, will be killed by the killing array, and finally become nutrients for the golden cicada fruit tree." With that, the old man looked at Feng Fei Zhang and the others and said, "You do not have to suspect that I am deceiving you. The reason why I revealed this news is because the route map to the Lansha Island will be auctioned at the end of the month in the Mingat city. Moreover, it will be auctioned off in 100 copies. Even if I did not tell you, at the end of the month many people would know about it." The few people who originally had some doubts about the old man, now somewhat believed the words of the old man. The Mingat auction house would auction the route map to the Lansha Island. This matter might really be true. The Mingat auction house was located in the vicinity of the Mingat Sea area. It was a very powerful force. If they auctioned off 100 copies, then it would be 100 copies. Absolutely no one would dare to use the route map that was auctioned off to make a copy and sell it. "May I ask this friend, how did you get the route map to the Lansha Island, and even before the Mingat auction house?" Feng Fei Zhang asked. The old man nodded and said, "Even if you did not ask, I would have told you. I was not the only one who obtained this route. There was another person, presumably he was the same as me, and had been to the Lansha Island many times. He should not have been able to obtain the golden cicada fruit, so he chose to sell the route to the auction house." The few people did not speak. Since the old man said this, there must be something else. Sure enough, after the old man finished, he continued, "I myself am proficient in low-level array formations. This time I specifically went to ask an array formation master. That array formation master said that this killing array requires at least a rank 5 array formation master to break it. In addition, there is another way, that is, 8 people, at the same time attack in 8 different directions. You can also break this killing array. But this method of breaking the killing array, I do not know if it will destroy the golden cicada fruit. Does this friend want to invite us to participate?" Miao Xiaoming immediately asked. The old man replied, "It is true, I am only at the qi gathering 3rd level. I will not invite cultivators in the middle stages of the qi gathering to participate." Furthermore, each golden cicada fruit had at least 36 fruits. Even if all 8 of them participated, each of them could get as many as 4. We have a total of 6 people here. We can go to the Mingat Sea area and find 2 more, then we can gather 8 people to go to the Lansha Island. Let me introduce myself. My name is Pu Jingye, everyone calls me Taoist Pu. Moreover, I will swear by my words. After listening to Taoist Pu's words, Miao Xiaoming cupped his fists and spoke, I and Tian Fei will also go, but before we go, I would like to ask Brother Pu to show me your route map. Otherwise, please forgive me for not agreeing. He had some understanding of array formations, moreover he had also been to the Lansha Island, although he had not been inside, but he was very clear about the periphery. Once he was not satisfied with the route map given by Taoist Pu, even if Taoist Pu had made a sea oath, then he would never agree. Feng Fei Zhang hesitated for a moment before cupping his fists and saying, Brother Pu, count me in as well. My request is the same as Brother Miao's, I need to see the route map to enter the array. Taoist Pu laughed and said, that's for sure, before we go, I will make the route map public for everyone to see. Even if there is no auction for the route map to enter the array, with my route map, everyone will be satisfied. At this time all the people looked at Ning Cheng, they wanted to know what Ning Cheng meant. An Yi followed Ning Cheng, it was obvious that Ning Cheng's words were the most important, they only needed to consult Ning Cheng's opinion. Ning Cheng smiled and said, of course I want to participate, this kind of good thing, if I don't participate then I will suffer a loss. Ning Cheng was smiling on the surface, but in his heart he was extremely depressed, only a fool would want to go to the Lansha Island, and join this team. Regardless of whether what Taoist Pu said was true or false, even if what he said was true, the Lansha Island had the golden cicada fruit, why did no advanced array formation master go there? Even if the advanced array formation master was not willing to go, presumably the auction house would find a way to invite an advanced array formation master to check it out. If they could obtain more than 30 golden cicada fruits, then the auction house would definitely do such a thing. The only possibility was that there was an advanced array formation master who went in, the situation inside was not as simple as what Taoist Pu said. Of course, there was another possibility, and that was that Taoist Pu was just talking nonsense. Feng Fei Zhang and Miao Xiaoming had been living in the Mingat Sea for many years, they were shrewd and cunning people. They should be able to tell if Taoist Pu was talking nonsense or not. They chose to believe in Taoist Pu, presumably the possibility of Taoist Pu talking nonsense was not big. But for Ning Cheng, even if this matter was completely true, he was not willing to participate. He had lived on Earth, and had long been adhering to the truth, that the sky would not just drop a pie. What was an oath? On Earth, some people treated oaths as simple as eating and drinking, but he had never seen anyone fulfill their oath. Besides, he and an Yi had just come out, how could they encounter such a good thing? Even if there was such a good thing, it would be a late-stage chi-gathering cultivator who would inquire about it. What did it have to do with a chi-gathering third-level cultivator? But he had to agree, the killing intent in Miao Xiaoming and Taoist Pu's eyes was obvious. It was clear that as long as he refused, the two of them would immediately kill him. As for Feng Fei Zhang, he had only met him by chance. Ning Cheng thought so, he could only blame Ning Cheng for not knowing the prestige of a rank 5 array formation master. Letting a rank 5 array formation master go to the Mingat Sea area to look for the golden cicada fruit, it was just a pipe dream. But Ning Cheng did not know, he thought that a rank 5 array formation master would be easy to invite. Seeing Ning Cheng agree without hesitation, Feng Fei Zhang froze for a moment. He thought that Ning Cheng had just started his career, even if he agreed, he would need to explain it to him. He would tell Ning Cheng that Taoist Pu was not lying. Because at the end of the month, the Mingat auction would indeed have something related to the Lansha Island for auction, but they did not know that it was the array formation map to enter the Lansha Island. In addition, there was one more thing, and that was that Taoist Pu was willing to make a sea oath. The cultivators who lived on the edge of the Mingat Sea knew how terrible the sea oath was. As long as it was made, it would certainly be true, otherwise it would definitely be fulfilled. Well, since everyone believes in me, then I will take out the array formation map to enter the Lansha Island and give it to everyone. Taoist Pu said, and took out 5 copies of the array formation map, and gave it to the 5 people. Ning Cheng just took one and said, "Me and my cousin will have one." He simply did not know anything about array formations. Even if he wanted to go, he could only follow behind the others. The one copy of the array formation map was for an E to see, but he would not be able to understand it. "No, I have prepared a lot. It would be safer for each of us to take one copy. In case we get separated, at least we would have a map to rely on." Taoist Pu once again handed the array formation map to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng also thought about it, and took the second copy of the array formation map, but did not give it to an E. Of the two copies of the array formation map, he put the other one in his hand. He was going to look at it first. If he did not understand it, he would ask an E. Taoist Pu smiled at Ning Cheng and said, "You can also take out the other copy and let your companion see it. If there is anything that you do not understand, you can ask me." Ning Cheng knew that the outside was not simple, and was always cautious. Originally he was afraid of Taoist Pu in his heart, but now that Taoist Pu had said these words, it made Ning Cheng even more vigilant. The meaning behind these two words of Taoist Pu was to ask him to give a copy of the route map to an E. Why did he care about this matter? Although he felt that something was wrong, Ning Cheng still smiled and said, "It doesn't matter, my cousin does not understand array formations, she is not in the mood to look at it. When her mood is better, I will show it to her." An E certainly would not refute Ning Cheng's words. When it came to array formations, she certainly knew more than Ning Cheng, but she would not refute Ning Cheng's words. Taoist Pu's eyes flashed with a cold light. This time Ning Cheng clearly caught it. It made him feel that this matter was not ordinary. Several people were looking at the array formation map to enter the Lansha Island. After Ning Cheng looked at it for a while, he could not understand it at all. He simply put away the array formation map in his hand, and put it in the bag behind him. "I have not asked this friend, what is your name?" Taoist Pu saw Ning Cheng put away the array formation map, and instead asked Ning Cheng with a smile. Ning Cheng said in a light voice, "We just want to cooperate to go to the Lansha Island, there is no need to inquire about other things." Taoist Pu unexpectedly did not get angry, he just smiled and nodded, and no longer spoke. Sister He's carriage was fast and stable. Ning Cheng suspected that if the carriage had rubber tires, would it be like a commercial vehicle, and would it not be bumpy at all? For the next few days, in addition to taking a break, when Sister He stopped the beast carriage, and everyone came out to eat something, usually besides Ning Cheng and an E, everyone else was studying the array formation map. Or they would ask Taoist Pu about the situation in the Lansha Island, or they would discuss what to do after entering the island. Regarding these, Ning Cheng did not participate, nor did he speak a word. No one asked Ning Cheng. When the time came, they would just hand over the task to Ning Cheng. The more the beast carriage moved, the heavier the smell of the sea became. Taoist Pu also did not look for Ning Cheng to talk nonsense these days, but Tian Fei did not continue to study the array formation map. Instead she often looked at Ning Cheng and an E, but did not look for the two of them to talk. On the seventh day of the beast carriage, Ning Cheng was thinking about how not to participate in this team, when he heard a loud roar, and then the carriage that they were sitting in shook, as if it was going to turn upside down. Ning Cheng reacted quickly. Almost at the same time when the carriage shook, he immediately picked up an E who had not come to her senses, and punched the roof of the carriage, and flew out from the roof. At the same time as Ning Cheng came out was Taoist Pu. After Taoist Pu came out, he immediately retreated, and in an instant, he was hundreds of meters away from the carriage. At this time Feng Fei Zhang and the other two also flew out and retreated. Ning Cheng had just seen a long ravine several tens of feet in front of the beast carriage. The one-horned beast had already been split in half, the other half simply could not be seen. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to think, another whistling sound came. Ning Cheng hurriedly rushed out with an E. He did not care where he was rushing to. At the same time as he rushed out, he heard an explosion coming from behind. There seemed to be two shadows in the sky. Ning Cheng did not think about what it was, and immediately rushed to the side with an E at the craziest speed. Chapter 23. From the time he vaguely saw the two shadows, Ning Cheng only had the thought of escaping. When he had just arrived at the periphery of the Mingot Sea, he had seen two extremely fast shadows breaking through the air. The impression it gave him was too deep. Thinking of the single-horned howling beast that had been torn in half, the hard roadside had a 10-feet-long gully, and the terrible explosion behind him. How could Ning Cheng not know that this was a fight between two extremely powerful masters? In a fight between these two masters, staying here was absolutely courting death. The only thing he could do was to escape as far as possible. The two masters fighting would not care about him, a small chi-gathering third-level cultivator, so the faster he escaped the better. As for escaping to the side, Ning Cheng knew that Taoist Pu was escaping to the back. He was thinking about how to avoid Taoist Pu. Now that he had the opportunity, he obviously would not escape in the same direction as Taoist Pu. Moreover, he was sure that at this time Taoist Pu would not care about the direction he was escaping to. He estimated that he himself was anxious to escape. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, an E who was in Ning Cheng's arms whispered, "Big brother Ning, I can escape by myself, you can let me go." Ning Cheng discovered that he was wholeheartedly trying to escape. Unexpectedly he was still holding an E in his arms. Ning Cheng let go of an E at the same time. He was also rejoicing in his heart. Fortunately the two guys fighting were not coming this way. If those two guys were coming this way, then he would definitely die. An E followed Ning Cheng for a while, and then asked, "Big brother Ning, do you not want to team up with that Taoist?" An E did not understand the ways of the world, but she was not stupid. Ning Cheng's performance was already very clear. Ning Cheng remembered the matter that happened on the beast carriage. He quickly took off the package that he was carrying on his back, and threw the two maps on the ground, and then handed the package to an E and said, "An E, can you put this package in your storage bag?" "Yes." An E nodded. She did not think much, and directly put the package that Ning Cheng gave her into the storage bag. Then she asked, "Do we still want to escape now?" "Not only escape, but also speed up. We have to change our direction. The farther we escape the better." Ning Cheng said. He slightly changed his direction, and continued to run like crazy. An E, of course, would follow Ning Cheng wherever he went. Ning Cheng and an E were both at the chi-gathering third level. As the two of them ran with all their strength, their speed was incomparably fast. Half a day later, the sky had already turned dark, while at the same time they could hear the sound of the sea crashing against the reefs. Ning Cheng stopped and spoke, "We should be close to the sea. There is no need to continue to escape. Let's first find a place to hide." Ning Cheng had just finished speaking, when a bang sound rang out, as a black shadow fell heavily from the sky. This sudden sound made Ning Cheng quickly pull an E back, until they had retreated a few dozen meters. Only then did they turn around to look at the shadow falling from the sky. A man covered in blood was lying on the beach. It was obvious that he was the one who had fallen from the sky. His head was less than half a foot away from colliding with a huge rock. It was unknown whether this person was lucky or if he was able to control himself when he fell. "The two of you, please do me a favor." This blood-stained man did not faint. On the contrary, he weakly called out to Ning Cheng and an E. Ning Cheng did not move. When he saw an E take a step forward, he immediately pulled an E back without making a sound. In this world, not everyone who was seriously injured was as kind as him. Although the man who had fallen on the beach was seriously injured, but Yi Mo could not clearly see his cultivation level. Ning Cheng vaguely guessed that this person was definitely at least in the true condensation realm. Moreover, there was one point that Ning Cheng was not willing to help. He vaguely felt that this person was the one who had fought with the other person in the air, and the result was that he had killed the howling horned beast, and had also almost taken his life. A person who did not care about the lives of innocent people in a fight was definitely a cruel and merciless person. "I was plotted against by someone. The two of you, please help me 1 or 2 times." This seriously injured man still sincerely said. Ning Cheng whispered to an E, "You just need to follow behind me for 1 step." An E did not have any doubts about Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng wanted her to follow behind him, so she naturally stuck close to Ning Cheng. When the seriously injured man saw Ning Cheng and an E coming over, he sighed and said, "Thank you two friends. I am a person from the Mingot city. I will definitely thank the two of you." Ning Qing quickly said, "No, as you said a moment ago, we are all the same kind of people, this kind of small matter is really not a big deal." Ning Qing was not sure if this person was the same person who had disregarded the lives of others. He was on guard in his heart, but he also knew that regardless of whether the other party was the same person or not, his cultivation level and the other party's were incomparable. Fortunately, the other party was seriously injured, and could not even get up. When Ning Qing was less than 2 feet away from the man, Ning Qing suddenly pulled an E to the side without any warning. 2 feet was the most threatening distance for a wind blade. In Ning Cheng's view, the other party was seriously injured. Even if his cultivation level was high, his true essence would also be limited. In addition to being able to cast some wind blade techniques or fireball techniques, there should not be any other spells that could be cast. Whether it was a wind blade or a fireball, they were the most threatening distance of 2 feet. He did not care whether the other party would do such a thing or not, he just wanted to dodge first. Otherwise, even if the other party was seriously injured, he might not be able to dodge. Puff! A bloody light streaked across, 2 wind blades flashed past Ning Cheng and Anyi's side. Although Ning Cheng dodged first, but he was still a bit too slow, the wind blade cut a wound on his waist, blood instantly spurted out. Ning Cheng secretly thought that it was a close call. If he had not been smart enough to fall to the side, the 2 wind blades would have directly cut open his and Anyi's abdomen. After the wind edge swept past him, Ning Cheng almost immediately blasted out a flame edge. He felt that his fire blade was much more powerful than the wind blades. He did not immediately choose to escape, although this guy's cultivation level was high, but to kill him, he would have to deceive him. It was obvious that his injury was very serious. Ning Cheng was already prepared to use the fire blade. He had originally been vigilant. At this time he was injured by the wind blades. How could he not use the fire blade? After Ning Cheng sent out the first fire blade, Anyi immediately reacted. She simultaneously sent out 2 wind blades. The man who had fallen to the ground did not think that a trivial chi-gathering 3rd-level cultivator would be able to dodge his wind blades within 2 feet. This was completely beyond his expectations. In his view, even if it was a chi-gathering 4th level or above, he would not be able to dodge his sneak attack at such a distance. He was shocked. He did not make the next step to react. Ning Cheng's fire blade had already arrived. The fire blade accurately cut through his waist. The man's body was already stained with blood. In an instant it was once again stained with blood. Wait! The man had only said a single word, when Anyi's 2 wind blades also arrived. Ning Cheng, of course, would not be soft-hearted. At this time he already understood the rules of survival in this world. One absolutely cannot be soft-hearted towards the enemy. Moreover, the opportunity must be seized at the first moment. Almost at the same time as he sent out the fire blade, he once again sent out several wind blades. These several wind blades together with Anyi's wind blades, chopped the man who had fallen to the ground into several pieces. If Ning Cheng had killed Gu Fei for the first time, then his hands would have trembled, but at that time he had forgotten the fear of killing someone. But now when he killed the man who had plotted against him, he did not feel even the slightest bit of discomfort. But Anyi's face was somewhat pale. This was the first time that she had killed someone. Fortunately, she was just an accomplice. Even so, she still did not understand. This man was about to die. She and Ning Cheng had come to save him. Why did he still want to kill his benefactor? If not for Ning Cheng, she would have already been killed. Before she had also saved Ning Cheng, but why was Ning Cheng so good to her? Anyi subconsciously looked at the pale face of Ning Cheng. She suddenly thought that Ning Cheng had already been cut by the wind blades. She quickly took out some medicinal powder and sprinkled it on Ning Cheng's wound. Ning Cheng was at the chi-gathering 3rd level. He had already stopped the bleeding. Now that Anyi had used the medicinal powder, the wound had already stopped bleeding. Anyi breathed a sigh of relief. Perhaps in this world, there were not many people like Ning Cheng and her master. Ning Cheng took a few steps and arrived in front of the man who had already been killed by him. He raised his hand and pulled out the storage bag from his waist. At the same time he touched his body a few times, and took out a jade card. Ning Cheng did not even have the time to look at the jade card, and directly said to Anyi, "And let's hurry up and burn this guy with fireballs, and then quickly leave." And knew that this was not the time to ask questions, and just like Ning Cheng, the two of them continued to cast fireballs. Until the man was burnt to a crisp, Ning Cheng threw the charcoal into the sea. "Big brother Ning, we are now." And looked at Ning Cheng with increasing fear. Before, she and her master had lived in the Blue Heart Nunnery, but such a thing had never happened before. How long had she been out? This was not the first time that such a thing had happened. Ning Cheng said in a deep voice, "Let's hurry up, the further we go the better, the faster the better." The two of them once again changed direction, and once again desperately ran. The whole night passed by. When the sky was about to turn bright, Ning Cheng and An finally stopped. At this time the two of them were in a boundless reef forest. Ning Cheng found a cave under a huge reef. After the two of them hid in the cave, they finally had time to catch their breath. Outside the reef came the sound of the waves crashing against the rocks, as well as a faint glimmer of light, which made Ning Cheng's heart, which had been hanging in suspense, slowly relax a bit. He had never thought that one day, he would have to run for his own life. "Big brother Ning, how did you dodge so quickly? If it was me, I certainly would not have been able to dodge that wind blade." And still had some lingering fear. If Ning Cheng had not pulled her back, she would have been attacked by that man's wind blade on the beach. Ning Cheng sighed and said, "When I went there, I felt that there was something wrong with that man. I really did not misjudge him. You wait for me, my injuries are a bit heavy, and I need to heal them." Ning Cheng did not have a good way to heal his injuries. When he was injured last time, he was constantly circulating his own cultivation method, which allowed him to quickly recover from his injuries. This time he still used this method. But Ning Cheng's qi had not even completed a single circulation, when his complexion greatly changed. Chapter 24. An had been paying attention to Ning Cheng. When Ning Cheng's face changed, she saw it, and quickly asked, "What's the problem?" "When I was circulating my qi, I suddenly found that my body seemed." Ning Cheng did not finish his words, and once again said, "I understand." Then he directly took off his clothes, and was staring at Ning Cheng with wide eyes. Seeing Ning Cheng suddenly take off his clothes, she immediately blushed and turned her head away. Her mind was simple, she was a little nun, but it did not mean that she did not know the difference between men and women. But she quickly turned her head again. She had not been with Ning Cheng for a day or two. She believed in Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng now took off his clothes. There was definitely something wrong. Sure enough. Ning Cheng looked at the faint black scar on his chest, and said while gnashing his teeth, "Is this a talisman mark?" Although An had never seen this thing, but her master had told her, she could tell at a glance, that this was a talisman mark. As long as there was this mark, no matter how far he went, the person who made the mark would be able to find him. Ning Cheng had seen the talisman mark in the Ning family's leather scroll. When he was circulating his qi, he suddenly felt a kind of discomfort. There seemed to be something on his body that did not belong to him, and this thing made him unable to cultivate with peace of mind. It really is a talisman mark. Ning Cheng listened to An words, and was convinced that his judgment was not wrong. A talisman mark is a kind of talisman mark. It is also called a talisman mark. As long as this talisman is in your hands, it is possible to trigger the talisman mark. The talisman mark will be attached to your body. Ordinary people will not be able to find it. Ning Cheng immediately circulated his qi. The talisman mark directly broke through his chest, and turned into a faint black color. Almost at the same time as the talisman mark was broken, Ning Cheng sent out a fireball, burning the talisman mark until it disappeared without a trace. The level of the fireball that Ning Cheng sent out was very low, but it was able to burn the talisman mark, indicating that the level of the talisman mark was very low. Fortunately, I was circulating my qi, otherwise that Taoist Pu would have found me, and I would not have been able to escape. Ning Cheng saw that the talisman mark had been burned, but he still had a lingering fear. And looked at Ning Cheng in amazement and said, "Big brother Ning, my master said that there is no way to find the talisman marks through the heavenly revolution." If it was a cultivator at the Qi gathering 7th level or above, they would be able to detect it through their body's reaction. Ordinary cultivators have no way of discovering it. Moreover, the talisman marks are not something that can be forced out. How did you do it? Ning Qing immediately thought of the cultivation method that he had modified, and spoke with some uncertainty. Perhaps my cultivation method is a bit special. Fortunately, I didn't show you the map. If I had shown it to you, it would have been over. I am now sure that the mark came through the array formation map. This Taoist Pu is so sinister, he must be plotting something. And he also nodded and said, yes, Big Brother Ning, if I was also marked by the talisman, I certainly would not be able to find it like you. Maybe I'll have to take off my clothes and let you help me find it. Ning Qing heard An Yi speak without thinking, although he knew that An Yi did not think much when she spoke, but he still felt that it was somewhat funny. How could he let An Yi take off her clothes and help him find the talisman mark? But then Ning Qing felt that An Yi's words were not funny. If An Yi was really marked by the talisman mark, she would absolutely have to take off her clothes and let him find it, otherwise how could she escape from that Taoist Pu? When An Yi saw that Ning Qing was about to put on his clothes, the embarrassment from before had already passed. She took the initiative to help Ning Qing apply the powder again. After putting on his clothes, Ning Qing felt helpless in his heart. He could not improve his cultivation. He did not know if choosing to come to the Mingat Sea was right or wrong. The reason why he chose to come to the Mingat Sea was partly because his parents had disappeared here. Before he was reborn, he often had a dream. It was as if he was living in the Changqing province. Now that this dream has really become a reality, it made Ning Qing suspect that his reborn body was not that of a stranger, but of his previous life. Because of this, he did not have any feelings for his parents in this life. Ning Qing knew that the bag that he had obtained from the man was a storage bag. He was very eager to see what was inside the storage bag, and then study the storage bag, but he still held back his thoughts, and first picked up the jade card. The light in the reef cave was very weak, but the words on the jade card were very clear. Blue Flame 4-Star Academy's 3rd Elder, Shui Tai Chu. Ning Qing did not know how high the status of the 3rd Elder was, but Ning Qing was very clear about the status of a 4-star academy. A 4-star academy was equivalent to a real country, and the Changqing province was just an ordinary country under a small vassal state. He had nowhere to escape, and now that he had killed an elder of a 4-star academy, once he was discovered, how could he still have a chance to live? Ji Luofei's aunt was just an errand teacher of a 5-star academy, but in the Changqing academy, she could walk sideways. This Shui Tai Chu was an elder. His status was simply unimaginable. An Yi also saw the words on the jade card. She was somewhat worried and asked, Big Brother Ning, did we get into trouble? Ning Qing looked at the jade card again, then put it away. He shook his head and said, there is nothing to get into trouble, as long as we do not let the Blue Flame 4-star academy know about it. The most important thing is to improve our own cultivation. If one day we can even surpass the essence building realm, then the 4-star academy would be nothing more than that. Ning Qing comforted An Yi, but in his heart he was not sure. He did not know about the abilities of a 4-star academy. Previously a Taoist Pu who was at the Qi gathering 3rd level had almost left a mark on his body. This 4-star academy and that Taoist Pu were simply not on the same level. They were 1,000,000 times more powerful. Whether or not such an existence could find the two of them, Ning Qing was not sure. Grabbing the bag that he wanted to open, he looked at it for a long time. Ning Qing asked, An Yi, how do I open this storage bag? An Yi immediately explained, we are only at the Qi gathering realm. We have not yet developed spiritual consciousness, but we have spiritual sense. We can use our spiritual sense to communicate with the storage bag. If we cannot open it, we can slowly refine the restriction. But as An Yi spoke about refining the restriction, she immediately remembered that refining the restriction required proficiency in array formations and restrictions, but whether Ning Qing understood it or not, she was not clear. Ning Qing knew about spiritual sense. Not waiting for An Yi to finish speaking, he used his spiritual sense to communicate with the storage bag in his hands. But Ning Qing immediately knew that he had done it in vain. The storage bag did not respond at all. When he used his spiritual sense to communicate with it to a certain extent, he could only barely touch some strange marks, but these marks were like iron locks. He could not open even one of them. Annie saw that Ning Cheng did not understand restrictions. She simply took out a book and handed it to Ning Cheng and said, "Big brother Ning, this is the basic knowledge of array formations that my master passed on to me, you can take a look." If it was something else, Ning Cheng would certainly be polite, but he did not understand array formations. He could not open the storage bag. If he could not open the storage bag, he would not know what was inside the storage bag. So when he saw Annie hand over the basic knowledge of array formations, Ning Cheng did not hesitate to take it, and then immediately opened the book. Annie stared blankly at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had been continuously reading the book for 3 hours. She only saw him constantly turning the pages of the book, and then constantly making some gestures, his expression constantly changing. This was the knowledge of array formations. When she first came into contact with array formations, her master had taught her 3 pages in 1 day. When she had comprehended it, her master had said that she was a genius. But Big Brother Ning, what was going on? Annie wanted to ask Ning Cheng, but she was afraid to disturb Ning Cheng. She could only silently wait for Ning Cheng to wake up from the basic knowledge of array formations, and then ask again. Ning Cheng did not know what Annie was thinking. From the time he opened the book, there were all kinds of array formation terms, introductions of directions, various kinds of array flags, introduction to array formations, including the use, cracking, all of these naturally formed in his mind, fixed, and even his consciousness that had never appeared before also appeared again. So that he not only understood these things, but also automatically corrected the knowledge of array formations. At this time, in his mind, there appeared one after another array formation model. These array formation models were the original array formations. But this kind of array formation model, under his new mastery of array formations, was once again automatically corrected, modified, and finally formed a new, more comprehensive array formation. The huge knowledge of array formations combined with the automatic correction consciousness that appeared in Ning Cheng's mind, made Ning Cheng like a sponge that absorbed water. His powerful understanding ability, as well as his terrifying memory ability, showed itself at a glance. Hundreds of miles away from Ning City, 4 people were gathered together in a sorry state. These 4 people were the ones who had been sitting in the same beast carriage as Ning Cheng, and were ready to team up to go to the Lansha Island. The 2 people fighting in the air are absolutely at the late stage of the essence building realm, such a terrible power. Feng Fei Zhang said with a lingering fear. Miao Xiaoming and Tian Fei also nodded. They also agreed with Feng Fei Zhang's words. That ravine, as well as the power of the battle, they had all seen it with their own eyes. If they had escaped a little slower, they would have been caught in the aftermath of the battle, and might have been killed. Hey, why haven't the 2 of them come? Did they not escape? Miao Xiaoming had already discovered that Ning Cheng and Annie had not come. If Ning Cheng had not escaped, then it would have been fine, but with Annie's fresh and lively appearance, if she had been killed, it would have made him feel extremely regretful. Taoist Pu smiled and said, "That young man should be very clever. I saw that he was the first one to rush out, so there should not be any problem. I saw the direction in which he escaped. Now that he has not come back, I guess that he is not able to find us. We will follow the direction in which he escaped." Feng Fei Zhang also nodded in agreement. The distance from here to the Mingot Sea was not very far. After they found Ning Cheng, they could reach the Mingot Sea in half a day's time. When Taoist Pu said that they would look for Ning Cheng, no one objected. It was not that they were afraid that Ning Cheng would suffer a loss. But Ning Cheng had the map of the Lansha Island. If they did not take Ning Cheng away, then it would not be a good thing for them. Chapter 25. Brother Pu, why did you stop? Seeing Taoist Pu stop, Feng Fei Zhang asked in a puzzled tone. Taoist Pu's complexion slightly changed. He accelerated and searched for a kilometer before stopping again. This time he did not wait for the others to ask, and took the initiative to say, "Brother Feng, I guess that Ning Cheng and his cousin should not have escaped from this disaster. Why don't we go to the Mingot Sea earlier, and then look for a few more people?" The reason why Taoist Pu said this was because he saw the two maps that Ning Cheng had thrown down. The map had his mark on it, so he was able to find it. But after he saw the two maps, the clues that he could sense were completely cut off. He had no other way, so he stopped. Whether Ning Cheng was dead or had escaped, at least now he had no way to find him. Taoist Pu was very smart. He did not pick up the map that Ning Cheng had thrown down, so the others did not doubt Taoist Pu's words. Now that Taoist Pu said that it would be very difficult to find him, and that he had to go to the Mingot Sea to find a partner, no one objected. The map was taken out by Taoist Pu, he did not mind, so why would the others care about it? When Ning Cheng opened his eyes, he had already flipped through a third of the book. He immediately saw An Yi staring at him. "An Yi, what are you looking at me for?" Although Ning Cheng asked, he was still immersed in the joy of walking into the array formation temple. He felt that he had come into contact with a new field. He finally understood what an array formation was, what restrictions were, and why an array formation could operate. "I did not think that you would be able to read a book in seclusion. You have been reading for 3 days and 3 nights, aren't you hungry?" An Yi also sighed. Ning Cheng finally woke up. Before, she had only heard from her master that cultivation could be comprehended through seclusion, but today was the first time that she saw that reading a book could also be done through seclusion. When Ning Cheng heard An Yi say that, he felt hungry, but then he smelled a strange odor on his body. 3 days of seclusion, while he was comprehending the array formation, his cultivation method automatically circulated, unexpectedly causing some of the impurities and odors to seep out. "You wait for me," Ning Cheng awkwardly said to An Yi, and quickly drilled out of the cave, and then successively used the clear water technique and the dust removal technique on himself, and then washed all of his clothes. He put on his clothes and went back into the cave. Seeing Ning Cheng come in clean and tidy, An Yi finally showed a smile. Then she took out a few pieces of dry food and handed it to Ning Cheng and said, "You eat something first." Ning Cheng could not wait to swallow the few pieces of dry rations, and once again picked up the storage bag in his hands. "Big brother Ning, that storage bag should have a restriction on it. Even if you had 3 days, you would not be able to." An Yi had not even finished her words, when she looked at Ning Cheng in shock. "Big brother Ning, you actually opened the storage bag?" Ning Cheng laughed and spoke, "It is not difficult to call out, but it is not difficult to do so. This array restriction is really simple. I only had to casually read a few books for a few days and I was able to complete it." An Yi was stunned for a long time, and then said, "Big brother Ning, for a cultivator, array formations are the most difficult. It is even several times more difficult than cultivation. How can you say that it is not difficult? Perhaps the restriction on the storage bag that I obtained is very simple, so." Ning Cheng subconsciously said a sentence, and then changed his words. "Well, you can't say that it is not difficult. Before I took the exam, I only needed to read a book for half an hour to an hour. This time it seems that I have read for a few days. It seems that this array formation is somewhat difficult." When An Yi heard Ning Cheng admit that this array formation was somewhat difficult, she also nodded her head in agreement. Her mind was very simple, and thought that she was relatively stupid, and that there were a lot of smart people like Ning Cheng. So Ning Cheng's laughable explanation, unexpectedly was also recognized by her. As for the new term that Ning Cheng had spoken, she was already used to it. Regarding the usage of the storage bag, Ning Cheng was already familiar with it. He raised his hand and took out hundreds of white crystal stones. These hundreds of white crystal stones, unexpectedly contained a very rich amount of spiritual qi. "Hey, this qi gathering stone is very pure. When I first saw it, it was dark yellow, but this time I unexpectedly saw a milky white qi gathering stone. This is really a new thing." Ning Cheng held a white crystal stone and said with a sigh. Initially, Ji Luofei, in order to help him get a qi gathering stone, had put in a lot of effort, and even almost lost her life. Today, he had casually obtained more than 100 of them. Moreover, they were all very pure qi-gathering stones. An Yi said from the side, "Big brother Ning, what you are holding in your hand is not a qi-gathering stone, but a spirit stone. Yours should be a low-grade spirit stone. My master said that there are medium-grade spirit stones and high-grade spirit stones. Spirit stone. This was the first time that Ning Cheng had heard the words spirit stone, but he felt that these two words seemed to be more appropriate for this crystal stone. And he said, a low-grade spirit stone can be exchanged for 100 high-grade qi-gathering stones, moreover there is no market for them. Qi-gathering stones are generally used by low-level qi-gathering cultivators for cultivation, although they are rare, but they can be found. But spirit stones are different, they can only be produced in places rich in spiritual qi. These are used by powerful cultivators. In the past, my master had given me a spirit stone. Now that you have obtained so much, you will certainly be able to improve your cultivation level a lot. Ning Cheng suddenly came to understand, no wonder he felt that the qi-gathering stone was not that useful, it would be better if he did not use the qi-gathering stone to cultivate. It turned out that the qi-gathering stone was such a low-level thing, so to speak, wouldn't a spirit stone be exchanged for 10,000 gold coins? Immediately Ning Cheng knew that he was just thinking blindly. According to what an E had said about the preciousness of spirit stones, there should not be a fool who would be willing to exchange a spirit stone for gold coins. Not to say 10,000, perhaps even tens of thousands of people would not be willing to exchange for it. So to speak, wouldn't a medium-grade spirit stone be exchanged for 100 low-grade spirit stones? Then a high-grade spirit stone. Ning Cheng thought of the value of a high-grade spirit stone, and suddenly yearned for it. Even if he could not cultivate, if he could obtain a high-grade spirit stone, he would be rich. And Yi shook her head and said, otherwise, a medium-grade spirit stone can only be exchanged for 10 low-grade spirit stones, a high-grade spirit stone can only be exchanged for 10 medium-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng nodded and said, that is also very impressive. Then Ning Cheng once again took out several jade bottles from the storage bag, a book, a jade strip, some materials and spiritual grasses. In addition, there was also a flying sword-type artifact. What made Ning Cheng disappointed was that he did not find any flight-type artifact. Although he knew that with his ability, even if he had a flight-type artifact, he would not be able to control it, but this kind of artifact that could fly always gave him a great desire. And he did not know that Ning Cheng was not satisfied in his heart, and explained to Ning Cheng, this storage bag is already yours, you need to refine it yourself, and then arrange a restriction. The restrictions on the storage bag are based on your level of understanding of restrictions, the higher your understanding, the higher the level of restrictions you can arrange. Ning Cheng nodded. After leaving behind the jade bottles and the spirit stones, he threw the rest of the things into the storage bag. Then he took out 20 spirit stones and gave them to an E and said, an E, if we want to establish a foothold in the Mingot Sea, our cultivation level is still too low. Now I want to use the spirit stones to cultivate, you should also use the spirit stones to cultivate. Once one of us can advance to the qi-gathering 4th level, we would not need to be afraid of that Taoist poo. These bottles, you see if you can use them, you can take them out and use them yourself. I will now continue with my cultivation, you do not disturb me. Ning Cheng was well aware that his cultivation level was low. Now that he had the spirit stones, he was anxious to know if he could advance to the qi-gathering 4th level. If the spirit stones could not help him advance, then he really had no other way. So he obtained the spirit stones, and gave the 20 to an E, and immediately began his closed-door cultivation. He couldn't even block the entrance of this simple and crude cave, let alone set up a formation. And Yi's experience was even less than Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not even think of arranging an array formation, so she did not know about it. But she deeply agreed with Ning Cheng's words, her cultivation level was indeed low. So after obtaining the spirit stones, she also began her closed-door cultivation. In this way, the two inexperienced people, in this unguarded place, began their closed-door cultivation. Ning Cheng at this time was immersed in joy. When the rich spiritual qi in the spirit stones was absorbed by him, his cultivation level that had not loosened for a long time seemed to loosen. This was not what made him pleasantly surprised. What made him pleasantly surprised was that in his mind, the direction of his cultivation of qi had once again changed. In his body, there was a trace of mellow spiritual qi that had not appeared for a long time, and once again appeared in his meridians. The qi in his meridians continued to circulate and gather, making Ningqing vaguely feel that his qi was constantly increasing. One heavenly cycle after another, his meridians continued to expand and expand. Sometimes it only expanded a little, but it gave Ningqing the feeling that he had opened up a whole new world. In his mind, the new cultivation method, it was as if it was engraved. Ningqing completely abandoned the Ning clan's cultivation method, and immersed himself in this new world. He did not know how long it took. Ningqing felt a bang sound in his body. A strong flow of qi and a more solid meridians made Ningqing understand that he had advanced to the qi gathering 4th level. From the qi gathering 3rd level to the qi gathering 4th level was a watershed. Many people who used spiritual grasses and pills would not be able to cross it, but he actually used spirit stones to cross it. This caused Ningqing to be overjoyed, while at the same time consolidating his cultivation. He also continued to absorb the spiritual qi, while continuing to circulate his spiritual qi. Suddenly a faint yellow light appeared in his zifu. Ningqing was surprised in his heart. He could feel a trace of familiarity from this yellow light. It seemed to be mellow, but also seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of life. It was an indescribable feeling of comfort. That seemed to be the spirit qi he had felt before, but it was somewhat different from spirit qi. As Ningqing concentrated all his attention on the yellow light, he felt his body shake a bit. The next moment, he unexpectedly appeared in a yellow world. What is this place? An. As soon as Ningqing appeared in this place, he immediately sobered up, and quickly called out to An. At this time, a message that seemed to have come from the ancient times automatically entered Ningqing's mind. The mysterious yellow world exists in the heaven and earth. The universe has no desolation. Form above is the Tao, form below is the tool. Beyond the sun and the moon, above the stars and constellations, it can be said to be the divine Tao. At this moment, whether it was the complicated information that Ningqing could understand or could not understand, all of it poured into Ningqing's mind, leaving him with no room to refuse. Chapter 26. Even if Ningqing's brain was more powerful, even if his memory and comprehension ability were unparalleled, with so much information pouring in, it was something that he was unable to adapt to. For a moment, Ningqing felt as if his brain was about to explode. It was simply unbearable. Fortunately, as time passed, he gradually figured out what was going on with himself. The place where he was standing seemed to be just a pearl. This pearl was called the mysterious yellow bead. The mysterious yellow bead was a heaven-splitting object. Its full name was the Fortune Creation Mysterious Yellow Bead. There were 4 other Dharma treasures of the same level: the Green Lotus of Creation, the Jade Disc of Creation, the Golden Page of Creation, and the Indestructible Axe of Creation. On the surface, the mysterious yellow bead had a total of 17 masters, and the one with the highest cultivation was called Changxiang. The reason why Changxiang's cultivation was the highest was because when Changxiang had obtained the mysterious yellow bead, he had just started cultivating, and had not even formed his foundation. When the other 16 people obtained the mysterious yellow bead, because they had already cultivated it to the small success level, as such they were unable to let the mysterious yellow bead truly recognize them as its master, nor could they truly enjoy the good fortune of the mysterious yellow bead. All they could get was the help of the mysterious yellow bead's unique mysterious yellow qi. The mysterious yellow bead was a world of its own, which could breed the mysterious yellow qi. When a cultivator cultivated within it, not only would it cleanse their spiritual wisdom and spiritual roots, but it would also automatically correct the deviation of the cultivator's cultivation method. Not only that, but his cultivation speed was also several times, even dozens, or even hundreds of times faster than others. Furthermore, if one cultivated in the heaven and earth aura for a long period of time, one would be invincible among those of the same cultivation realm. Ningqing quivered, as he completely sobered up. He was extremely intelligent, so how could he not know what he had obtained? He had obtained the mysterious yellow bead that could breed mysterious yellow qi. He originally did not know what the mysterious yellow qi was, but now that a lot of information was pouring into his mind, it allowed him to clearly understand what the mysterious yellow bead was. No wonder the last time I took the test, my spiritual root changed from a muddy yellow color to a yellow color. It turned out to be because of the mysterious yellow qi. It is not spiritual qi at all. Ning Cheng's heart was filled with shock and ecstasy. He knew that this bead was definitely not an ordinary thing. The information that Ning Cheng received from the mysterious yellow bead was even more astonishing. He almost could not believe that he had such good luck. In addition to the previous effects of the mysterious yellow bead, it also had an even more powerful thing, and that was the mysterious yellow origin. If it was a person who had cultivated, and then obtained the mysterious yellow bead, then they would simply not be able to feel the mysterious yellow origin. Only a person who had never cultivated before would be able to obtain the mysterious yellow bead, and then let the mysterious yellow bead recognize them as its master. Only then would they be able to obtain the mysterious yellow origin. Because Ning Cheng had never cultivated before, he was able to obtain the approval of the mysterious yellow origin, although he still could not fully use the mysterious yellow origin, but he still became the first person that the mysterious yellow bead had truly recognized as its master. Although the mysterious yellow bead had experienced 17 people, but when they had obtained the mysterious yellow bead, the one with the lowest cultivation level was Chang Xiang, who was only at the qi refining realm. Because Chang Xiang was already in the qi refining realm, she was unable to obtain the mysterious yellow bead's origin. She could only use the mysterious yellow bead, but could not let the mysterious yellow bead truly recognize her as its master. I was originally the first master of the mysterious yellow bead, but I do not know if I will be the last. Ning Cheng muttered to himself. He was not very clear about the true meaning of the mysterious yellow origin. When that Chang Xiang obtained the mysterious yellow bead, he was only at the qi refining realm. He did not know if his qi refining realm was the same as his own qi gathering realm. Ning Cheng at this time completely forgot that he was still inside the mysterious yellow bead. He was only thinking about how to make full use of the mysterious yellow bead. If he had not obtained the information about being invincible within the mysterious yellow bead, then perhaps Ning Cheng would have blindly believed in the mysterious yellow bead. But there was another piece of information that made him somewhat disdainful of this information about being invincible within the same realm. Because the other 17 people who had obtained the mysterious yellow bead were all killed by others. If it was really invincible within the same realm, then how could it be killed by others? He believed that this piece of information about being invincible must have been left behind by the first person who had obtained the mysterious yellow bead. Otherwise, how could it be possible for someone to be invincible within the same realm, and at the same time be killed by others? Ning Cheng did not know that this piece of information was only obtained by him, because he was the first person to obtain the mysterious yellow bead's recognition as its master. When other people obtained the mysterious yellow bead, they thought that they were invincible within the same realm, not because of the information given by the mysterious yellow bead, but rather after absorbing the mysterious yellow qi, they naturally developed a confidence. Ning Cheng did not understand the meaning of the mysterious yellow origin, but it did not mean that he did not understand the meaning of cultivating within the mysterious yellow qi. The Ning clan's cultivation method obviously could not meet his needs. He wanted to use the mysterious yellow qi to find a more suitable cultivation method for himself. Or he could find a more advanced cultivation method, and then use the mysterious yellow qi to correct it. Ning Cheng began to search through the dense information in his mind. His original intention was to find a more suitable cultivation method for himself. It was reasonable to say that he was not the first person to obtain the mysterious yellow bead. As such, there must have been some cultivation information left behind by the predecessors. But after half a day, Ning Cheng did not find any cultivation information. He only found a 6-character mantra for cultivation, mysterious yellow formless. Ning Cheng did not understand what mysterious yellow formless was. His comprehension ability was already incomparably heaven-defying. Coupled with the mysterious yellow bead's origin, he was able to understand it even more clearly. In just a short period of time, Ning Cheng figured out what mysterious yellow formless was, and what mysterious yellow formless was. He was so shocked that he almost stood up. Mysterious yellow formless meant that he could come into contact with any cultivation method, magical technique, and then through cultivating within the mysterious yellow bead, this cultivation method would become even more powerful. This point, Ning Cheng was already aware of it, but he did not feel anything. What really shocked Ning Cheng was the mysterious yellow formless. This was the real cultivation method of the mysterious yellow bead. The information of the mysterious yellow formless was that any cultivation method, not only did it vary from person to person, but it also varied according to time and place. A cultivation method was always changing. You could use the mysterious yellow bead to change the cultivation method, but you could not obtain a cultivation method that was constantly changing. A cultivation method that was constantly changing, this was the real heaven and earth way. It was also called the mysterious yellow formless. Only by possessing the mysterious yellow origin, could one obtain the real mysterious yellow formless. In other words, other than him who knew about the mysterious yellow formless, the rest of the people who obtained the mysterious yellow bead would only know about the mysterious yellow formless. Ning Cheng could no longer bear the shock in his heart. He stood up. Mysterious yellow formless, he simply did not need any cultivation method. This was simply a cultivation method without a cultivation method. As long as he wanted to cultivate, the mysterious yellow bead would automatically give him a cultivation direction and a cultivation realm. What he had to do was to absorb the spiritual qi, while at the same time cultivating according to the mysterious yellow bead. Ning Cheng had not cultivated before. His exposure to cultivation was not long, although he had cultivated to the qi-gathering 4th level, but there was no one to guide him. If he had to say that there was someone guiding him, then the one guiding him would be the mysterious yellow bead. Even if he did not understand anything, he was very clear that the information obtained from the mysterious yellow bead was heaven-defying, and how terrible it was. Formless, what kind of cultivation method could achieve this? The mysterious yellow bead was so powerful. According to the information he had obtained before, wouldn't the other good fortune treasures be equally powerful? The only regret was that he could not use the mysterious yellow origin, and similarly could not use the mysterious yellow formless. Although he knew that there was the mysterious yellow formless, but he still had to cultivate it through other cultivation methods, that is, the mysterious yellow formless. Until one day he was able to comprehend the mysterious yellow origin, only then would he be able to understand the mysterious yellow formless. Even if it was the mysterious yellow formless, he would still be satisfied. Ning Cheng suppressed the surprise and uneasiness in his heart, and began to look at the place he was at. At this time he discovered that the place he was at was not big, it was only a few kilometers in radius, and was surrounded by a yellow mist. How could he get out of this place? Ning Cheng had just thought of going out. The next moment he was already standing in the reef cave where he was cultivating. Just like the last time when he woke up from studying the array formations, An Yi was still staring at him. But unlike the last time, An Yi's eyes were filled with shock. What happened a moment ago? Ning Cheng and An Yi asked the same question at the same time. Ning Cheng did not know that after he entered the mysterious yellow bead, what did An Yi see, and quickly spoke again. An Yi, what did you see a moment ago? You tell me. I saw that you had disappeared, and then I saw a pale yellow bead suspended in the place where you were. Then you appeared again. What is going on? An Yi asked in a panic. Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment, but he still chose to believe An Yi, and spoke in a very dignified tone. An Yi, I obtained a bead. It should be the one that you saw a moment ago. This bead is very precious. Once it is known by others, I will immediately be killed. So I think you should not tell anyone, even if it was your master. Ning Cheng wanted to say that even if it was someone who had the same relationship with her master, she should not speak about it. But he immediately understood that the relationship between him and An Yi was far from the relationship between An Yi and her master. Besides, An Yi's master was already dead. Even if An Yi wanted to say it, there was no place for her to say it. An Yi cautiously nodded and said, I know, big brother Ning, besides my master, you are the closest person to me. I will not tell anyone about it. Ning Cheng was slightly relieved, and then said, I don't know how long I went into seclusion, but I did not feel hungry. I guess I was too hungry. Hey, An Yi, did you also advance to the qi-gathering 4th level? It was not until this time that Ning Cheng discovered that An Yi had also advanced to the qi-gathering 4th level. Just like him, spirit stones really were a good thing. An Yi finally showed a trace of a smile and said, Yes, big brother Ning, I only used 3 spirit stones to advance to the chi gathering 4th level. When I woke up from my seclusion, I saw a yellow bead in front of me. That's great. In the future when we have spirit stones to cultivate, our cultivation speed will definitely be faster. Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised. The effect of spirit stones was so good, he had more than 100 of them, why would he be afraid of not advancing? But you advanced to the chi gathering 4th level, it seems that you used a lot of spirit stones. And he pointed to the spirit stone powder at Ning Cheng's feet and said. Ning Cheng discovered that his nearly 100 spirit stones were gone. He had used more than 100 spirit stones to advance from the chi gathering 3rd level to the chi gathering 4th level. Ning Cheng was shocked in his heart. He did not have time to think about it. He hurriedly cultivated. He wanted to see if he could still cultivate without spirit stones. To his disappointment, without spirit stones, although he could still sense the mysterious yellow bead in his zifu, but he was unable to cultivate. What should I do? Ning Cheng panicked. He knew that these more than 100 spirit stones were just a fluke. With so many spirit stones, he was only able to advance from the chi gathering 3rd level to the chi gathering 4th level. How would he cultivate in the future? This mysterious yellow bead was really fast, but the demand for spirit stones was just too terrible. An Yi suddenly said, Big Brother Ning, I still have more than a dozen spirit stones, but I think we should leave this place first. When I saw the yellow bead before, there seemed to be some chi overflowing. I am afraid that if others knew about it, then... Ha. Sure enough, there really is something here. A loud laugh came, and then a man with a rusty face appeared at the entrance of the reef cave where Ning Cheng and An Yi were. Chapter 27. Ning Cheng could clearly see that this rusty-faced man was a cultivator at the chi gathering 5th level, which was a level higher than him. This person's cultivation level was obviously much higher than Taoist Pu's. When Ning Cheng met Taoist Pu before, he still had some fear towards him, but the difference was that after seeing this person, Ning Cheng did not have much worry in his heart. After advancing to the chi gathering 4th level, Ning Cheng felt that his strength had increased several times. This kind of strong and solid chi gave Ning Cheng an inexplicable sense of confidence. Where's the thing? The man stood at the entrance of the cave and looked for a while, and immediately frowned and asked. Apparently he did not see what he was looking for. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to answer, he continued, I just saw a yellow light rushing out from here. It should be the birth of a treasure. When I came here, I also heard you talking about the yellow bead. Where did you put the yellow bead? Ning Cheng and An Yi were 2 people, but he did not even put them in his eyes. He could tell at a glance that Ning Cheng and An Yi had never experienced killing. Moreover, although the chi gathering 4th level and the chi gathering 5th level were both in the intermediate stages of the chi gathering realm, but the difference in the degree of chi concentration was not just a little bit. Ning Cheng did not even say half a word. He raised his hand and shot out 6 fire blades. When he was at the chi gathering 3rd level, he could only shoot out 1 or 2 fire blades. Now that he was at the chi gathering 4th level, he could instantly shoot out 6 fire blades. Not to mention that he could not reveal the fact that he had the mysterious yellow bead. Even if this rusty-faced man was so arrogant as to intrude into his territory, Ning Cheng would not show any mercy. The rusty-faced man did not think that a chi-gathering 4th level cultivator would dare to make the first move. Moreover, the speed of the fire blades was also very fast. He suddenly became furious. The next moment he chopped out a green long knife. The long knife brought out a green blade light. He wanted to block Ning Cheng's fire blades. In his opinion, Ning Cheng was only a chi-gathering 4th level cultivator. Wanting to injure him with a fire blade was simply a dream. The more Ning Cheng's fire blades chopped out, the more their power would decrease. Bang bang. 3 consecutive explosions sounded. 3 of Ning Cheng's 6 fire blades were directly chopped down by the rusty-faced man's long knife, exploding into flames. These flames hit the walls of the reef cave, smashing rocks everywhere. This rusty-faced man had thought that his blade light would be able to easily block Ning Cheng's 6 flame edges, but he did not expect that it would only be able to block 3 of them. After the 3 fire blades were blocked, his blade radiance immediately converged. The remaining 3 fire blades directly passed through the blade radiance and arrived in front of him in an instant. The rusty-faced man did not think that a cultivator at the chi-gathering 4th level would be able to use a fire edge to pass through his blade light. Fortunately, he had been around the Mingot Sea for many years, and had experienced a lot of things. Although the situation was dire, he did not panic. He only twisted his body a few times, and the 3 fire blades strangely slid past his body. When Ning Qing saw the stature of this man, he immediately knew that his combat experience was far inferior to the other party. From the power of the flame edge a moment ago, it could be seen that his chi was not inferior to that of the man at the chi-gathering 5th level. It could even be said that it was a lot stronger. This rusty-faced man had a rich combat experience, so when he discovered that Ning Cheng's cultivation was not inferior to his own, he immediately retreated, wanting to completely withdraw from the reef cave. For him, it was more advantageous to fight outside the reef cave. Even now, he did not put Ning Cheng in his eyes. When Ning Cheng saw the man retreat, he was shocked in his heart. He was not afraid of fighting with this man, but he was afraid that this man would escape. Once this man escaped, and he did not catch up with him, it would not be a good thing. At this time, Ning Qing did not care about anything else. He directly grabbed the flying sword from his storage bag. Holding the flying sword in his hand, he circulated his chi and chopped down with the sword. He did not know how to use a flying sword, moreover the flying sword was not refined. He could only use the flying sword as an ordinary weapon. Flying sword artifact. When the man at the chi-gathering 5th level saw Ning Qing take out the flying sword, he immediately called out in horror. There were countless cultivators who survived in the Mingot Sea, but there were only a few who actually had an artifact. Even if there were, it was accumulated over many years, or it was owned by a big family or some people with unusual backgrounds. Because the owner of the flying sword in Ning Cheng's hands had already fallen, even if Ning Cheng did not refine it, but with the chi gathered, it still brought out a sword light that was nearly 10 feet long. The rusty-faced man panicked, and hastily used the long knife in his hand to block. If he knew that Ning Cheng had a flying sword artifact, he absolutely would not have fought with Ning Cheng in close combat, and would also not have rushed into the cave. This time his experience deceived him. In his view, Ning Cheng and An Yi were wearing ordinary clothes, moreover they were hiding in a reef cave. They were definitely two people who did not know the immensity of the heavens and the earth, and wanted to come here for an adventure. He did not think that such a person would be able to take out a flying sword artifact, moreover it was a very high-level artifact. Ding dang, a sound was heard. The long knife was like a brittle jade. It was directly cut in half by the flying sword light. But the sword light was not even the slightest bit affected. Almost at the same time as the long knife was cut in half, the man was also cut in half. An Yi did not have any fighting experience. It was not until Ning Ching killed the opposite party that she came to her senses. She was not able to help at all. Ning Ching did not speak to An Yi. He put away all the gold coins in the man's bag, and a few fireballs directly turned the man into flying ash. Then he threw the flying ash into the sea outside the reef cave, and said to An Yi, "Let's hurry up, this is not a place to stay for a long time." After a few fireballs turned the man into flying ash, Ning Cheng was finally able to truly feel the improvement of his own cultivation. If he was at the chi-gathering 3rd level, his fireballs would definitely not be able to turn this man into flying ash. Okay. And he also knew that they had to leave this place as soon as possible. After the two of them left the reef cave, they ran all the way. After more than an hour, Ning Cheng slowed down and said, "It's okay, now we are just like the rest of the people who come to the Mingot Sea." Ning Cheng's confidence greatly increased. He was sure that his cultivation level would not be lower than the chi-gathering 6th level. What he lacked was combat experience. Of course, he still lacked the necessary trump card. An Yi then said, "Big brother Ning, your cultivation method is much more powerful than mine. You are only at the chi-gathering 4th level, but the might of your magic techniques is even more powerful than that of a person at the chi-gathering 5th level." An Yi did not have any fighting experience, but it did not mean that she did not notice. Ning Cheng once again took out the flying sword and looked at it and said, "Fortunately I have this flying sword type artifact, otherwise even if I was not afraid of him, I would not have been able to kill that guy." It seems that equipment is still very important. Annie did not understand what Ning Cheng meant by equipment. She pointed to the flying sword in Ning Cheng's hands and said, "This flying sword of yours should be a good artifact, but it is not yours yet. You should refine it, this way you can display its greatest power. My master said that after you have developed a spiritual sense, you can control the flying sword to attack the enemy. You can also use the flying sword to fly." Regarding spiritual sense, Ning Cheng actually understood. It was also known as spiritual sense. In other words, his spiritual sense was the embryonic form of spiritual sense. Annie said that he could use the flying sword, but it was only after he reached the essence building realm. Only after he reached the essence building realm would he be able to release his spiritual sense in a wide range. Of course, some of the more powerful cultivators in the true condensation realm would be able to release their spiritual sense. But because their spiritual sense was still weak, they would not be able to drive the flying sword to fly, and would also not be able to use the flying sword to attack the enemy. Ning Cheng nodded. He deeply agreed with Annie's words and said, "Annie, you are right, I will now find a place to refine the flying sword. Now my biggest task is to find a pile of spirit stones, so that I can continue to level up. Maybe one day in the future, I will be able to go back." "Big brother Ning, the purpose of your cultivation is to go back to your hometown?" Annie listened to Ning Cheng's words, and asked in a puzzled manner. "Of course." Ning Cheng nodded without hesitation, and then asked Annie, "What is the purpose of your cultivation?" Annie was silent for a moment, and then shook her head and said, "I do not have a purpose in cultivation. Master taught me how to cultivate, so I just cultivated." "What about your master?" Ning Cheng asked again. Master said that she wanted to pursue a higher realm. If Master could advance to a higher realm, then she would not have died. When Annie spoke about her master, her face turned gloomy. Ning Cheng was also silent. His purpose was to go back to see Ruolan, but he was very clear in his heart that his purpose may not be achieved in this lifetime. The mysterious yellow bead was indeed heaven-defying, but the amount of spirit stones needed for cultivation was also heaven-defying. If one day, he could not find these spirit stones that would allow him to advance, then he might also end up like Annie's master, and pass away in obscurity. Seeing Ning Cheng silent, Annie suddenly said again, "Big brother Ning, my master said, if you work hard, then there is still a chance. If you do not work hard, then there will be no chance. It is because I listened to my master's words, that I went out to look for the heaven-scented precious zoysia. Although I did not find it, at least I tried." When Ning Cheng heard Annie's words, he sobered up from his daze. Yes, he had a higher destiny than others, and even obtained the mysterious yellow bead. If he was not willing to work hard, then how could he always have such good luck in the future? Now he woke up, and he did not know the difficulty of looking for the heaven-scented precious zoysia. It was not that she did not know that the place she was looking for was not right, but with her ability, she could only reach those places. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng once again regained his strong confidence. He reached out and grabbed Annie's hand and said, "Annie, thank you, I must work hard." The moist sea breeze and the sound of the waves blew into the Mingot city. The Mingot city was as bustling and lively as ever. This was the largest city in the Mingot Sea, and was also the largest place for cultivators to come and go. But this bustling city had some indifference. The people coming and going were all in a hurry, and their expressions were serious and cold. Although many of the adventurers and cultivators, in order to get a higher income, brought the things they obtained back to the inland cities to sell, but there were still many people, who were not willing to travel far, and directly sold the things they obtained from the Mingot Sea in the Mingot City. These kinds of people who lived in the Mingot Sea for many years, were called Old Mingot by others. At this time in the bustling and lively Mingot City, a man and a woman arrived. The man looked very young, his face was slightly thin, but looked like it was carved with a knife. His eyes were extremely bright, and at the same time his expression was calm and natural, just like an old Mingot. His long black hair was slightly messy, scattered around his ears, and looked very casual. The woman beside him was half a head shorter than him. She looked extremely delicate and pretty, like a water lotus. Although her long hair wasn't exposed, the white scarf on her head made her look even more otherworldly and refined. Chapter 28. The ones who entered the Mingot city were obviously An Yi and Ning Cheng. After Ning Cheng spent some time refining the flying sword, he directly brought An Yi to the Mingot city. Although using the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate was good, but the amount of spirit stones required was dozens of times that of An Yi, and this was just the beginning. So even if he had the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng was still somewhat worried about his own cultivation. Big brother Ning, this place is very prosperous. An Yi had been living in the Blue Heart Nunnery, and rarely saw such a bustling city like the Mingot city. This was also the first time that Ning Cheng came to this kind of cultivation city, although the prosperity of the Zhanglu city was not weaker than the Mingot city, but compared to the Mingot city, it was two different kinds of prosperity. In contrast, the current Ning Cheng preferred the Zhanglu city. In the Zhanglu city, there was also the high and mighty Zhangqin royal family, as well as the Zhangqin two-star academy. Even if the Zhanglu city paid particular attention to the law of the jungle, but basically the laws of the Zhangqin province were still respected, although the status of the mortals was low, the mortals and the cultivators were still in balance. The Mingot city was different. This was the first time that Ning Cheng came to the Mingot city. He could already feel that there was no unified force here. He could feel that there were many forces in the Mingot city. In this place, it should be the real law of the jungle, where the strong speak. Auction, Mingot auction. A thin girl holding dozens of brochures in her hands called out, while waving the brochures in her hands, "This auction has artifacts, and high-level pills. The most important thing is that there is a map to the Lansha Island." Ning Cheng did not intend to participate in the auction. He now only had a few gold coins. He did not have any other good things. Going to this auction, even if he had a lot of gold coins, it would not be of much use, not to mention that he did not have many gold coins. The two seniors should have just arrived in the Mingot city. I not only have the map of the Mingot city, but also the introduction of the major forces in the Mingot city. The price is not expensive, only 50, no, only 30 silver coins. When this girl saw Ning Cheng and An Yi come over, she immediately came up to promote her own things. Her eyes were very sharp. With a glance she could see that Ning Cheng and An Yi did not come to the Mingot city often, nor were they in the Mingot sea. Ning Cheng took out a gold coin and handed it to the girl and said, "Okay, you can help me get a copy of this diagram. You don't have to keep the change for the rest of the silver coins, just give me a copy of the brochure for the auction." The little girl, on seeing Ning Cheng's generosity, quickly grabbed the gold coins, while simultaneously took out 2 books and stuffed them into Ning Cheng's hands. Her speed was incomparably fast. While Ning Cheng was puzzled, she had already gone far away. When Ning Cheng saw the rest of the people rushing over to sell the manuals, he immediately understood that the sale of manuals in this place also had its competition. "Wait a minute, I will first find a place to stay," Ning Cheng said to An Yi, while pulling An Yi to the side of the street. Although he was not a rich man on earth, he did not have a fixed residence outside. After coming to this place, Ning Cheng had not been able to find a safe place to sleep. Now that he had arrived at the Mingot city, in any case, he would first stay here for a period of time, and understand the situation. Of course, he couldn't just find a random hotel to stay in. At the very least, he had to know which hotel was better. Of course, An Yi would not have any opinion. Ning Cheng opened the map of the Mingot city. It was clearly marked with a few major forces. The first was the Mingot Association, which was the largest organization in the Mingot city. They controlled more than 50% of the transactions in the Mingot city, and had many experts. The second was the Wolf Palace, and the third was the Hohai village. Ning Cheng had just looked at the front a little bit, when he felt someone standing in front of him and An Yi. Ning Cheng looked up and saw a young woman wearing a red dress, and was at the Qi Gathering second level. This red-robed woman was quite beautiful, and on her side stood 2 equally beautiful female companions. Looking at the attire of these 2 female companions, they should be the maids of this red-robed woman. "Did you just arrive in the Mingot city?" The red-robed woman pointed at Ning Cheng, and bluntly asked. Ning Cheng was slightly uncomfortable in his heart, whether he had just arrived or not. What did it have to do with her? Facing this red-robed woman, Ning Cheng always felt a little uncomfortable. Yes, my cousin and I just arrived in the Mingot city. Ning Cheng calmly cupped his fists and replied. He was very clear that in the Mingot city, he could not afford to offend anyone. Oh, is this your cousin? The red-robed woman glanced at An. At this time Ning Cheng could see, the reason why this red-robed woman was standing here and talking to him was because of An. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to answer, the red-robed woman once again said, I like your cousin very much, I am from the Hohai village. Let your cousin go with me. I won't mistreat her. Ning Cheng immediately frowned and said, I'm sorry, my cousin will not go with anyone, we can support ourselves. If your cousin does not come with me, you will not be able to support yourself. The red-robed woman did not think that Ning Cheng would dare to talk back, and immediately said with a cold snort. But then she thought that Ning Cheng should have just arrived in the Mingot city, and did not know how terrible the Hohai village was. Ning Cheng held back his anger. He knew that the Mingot Sea area, the Mingot city was not a good place, but he did not think that, he had just arrived here, and someone even wanted to take away An. Lu Yen, these two people should have just arrived in the Mingot city, isn't it not good for you? Ning Cheng had not yet spoken, when a calm voice interrupted from the side. An, who was on the side, heard someone come out to help her, and was slightly relieved. To let her leave Ning Cheng, she absolutely would not do that. Moreover, from the eyes of the red-robed woman, she saw something that made her feel uncomfortable, which made her feel a little scared. Ning Cheng also saw the person who came over. It was a young man wearing a luxurious robe. His eyes had a trace of cyan around them, and he looked incomparably thin. But his cultivation level was higher than the red-robed woman called Lu Yen. He was already at the Qi Gathering 3rd level. Behind him, there was also a servant, whose cultivation level was at the Qi Gathering 6th level. The red-robed woman called Lu Yen immediately retorted, Miao Wenhong, don't think that I don't know what you want to do, every time you want to fight with me. Last time I let you have her once, this time I will absolutely not let you have it. Last time you forcibly took away that girl. I'm afraid that you have already ruined her. Miao Wenhong coldly snorted, that girl is now living a good life in the Wolf Palace. What do you mean by ruined? You taking people back with you is called ruined. You are a woman, yet you want to play with other women. If this is not ruining, then what is it? Hearing Miao Wenhong's words, Lu Yen became even angrier. The two of them immediately quarreled. Ning Cheng came to understand, these two people were not good people. He pulled An and said, An, let's go, this is not a good place. Since you are already here, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Seeing Ning Cheng leave, Miao Wenhong, who was still quarreling with Lu Yen, immediately stopped Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng looked around. Unexpectedly there were only a few people watching the lively scene. Even if there were people watching the lively scene, they were only sneaking a glance. It could be seen that these two people were showing off their strength in the Mingot city. Ning Cheng suppressed the killing intent in his heart, and slowly said, I and the two of you are strangers, don't tell me that this Mingot city can only be entered and not exited. Saying this sentence, Ning Cheng was already thinking about how to rush out of the Mingot city. That servant at the Qi Gathering 6th level would not be able to stop him. At the same time he also planned to kill this Miao Wenhong and Lu Yen. Now that he had just entered the city, he still had the opportunity to rush out. With the temperament of Miao Wenhong and Lu Yen, even if he did not kill them, these two people would not let them go. It would be better to simply kill them. Since he had already offended them, then he would offend them. There was no need to be timid. You really are right. If I do not let you go, then you will not be able to leave. Leave the woman at your side, and then you can go out by yourself. Miao Wenhong's tone was still not hurried nor slow, but that kind of aloof and unquestionable tone was already revealed. Oh, then what if I say that the two of them can leave? Another voice came. This time there were 4 people, 3 men and 1 woman. The one who spoke was the man in the front wearing a light blue robe. Ning Cheng had already noticed that these 4 people were wearing the same logo on their chests. It was clear that these 4 people came from the same place. He did not speak. In the Mingot city, the forces were complex. He was not sure if this person was speaking to help him. Chapter 29. What made Ning Cheng shocked was that among these 4 people, the one with the lowest cultivation level was at the Qi Gathering 6th level, while the one with the highest cultivation level was the blue-robed youth, who was at the Qi Gathering 8th level. The age of these 4 people was not much older than him, but the cultivation level of these 4 people was far beyond him and Ani. Who do you think you are? Daring to speak to me like that in the Mingot city? When Miao Wenhong heard these words, his anger immediately flared up. In the Mingot city, there were actually people who dared to speak to Miao Wenhong in such an arrogant manner. Did they not know that Miao Wenhong was the young master of the Wolf Palace? Sanpai, kill him. Miao Wenhong did not even finish his angry words, and immediately instructed the servant behind him to kill the guy who had just spoken. In the Mingot city, Miao Wenhong, killed a person. It was as simple as pinching an ant. Miao Wenhong was completely irrational in his anger, but that did not mean that his servant was also irrational. Hearing Miao Wenhong's unreasonable command, the servant behind Miao Wenhong quickly came forward and whispered in his ear, "Young Master Wenhong, they are the people from the Ping Continent's Clear Heart 3-Star Academy. Look at the badges on their chests." This servant called Sanpai had already seen it clearly. The lowest cultivation level of these people was not worse than him. Not to mention that he could not beat them. Even if he could beat them, he could not afford to provoke them. Hearing the old servant's reminder, Miao Wenhong immediately reacted. He had certainly heard of the Clear Heart 3-Star Academy. Just now he was infuriated by the words of the blue-robed youth, so he spoke without thinking. Although the Wolf Palace was powerful, but it was only a small part of the Mingot city and the Mingot Sea. Even in the entire Mingot Sea, the Wolf Palace was nothing. Not to mention compared to the Clear Heart 3-Star Academy. The Clear Heart 3-Star Academy belonged to the Ping Continent's Ming-Yi country, even if this academy did not have any relationship with the Ming-Yi country. A 3-Star Academy was not something that the Mingot city could do, not to mention the trivial Wolf Palace. Ning Cheng at this time also saw clearly. The 4 people's badges on their chests were engraved with the words Clear Heart 3-Star Academy. Below these words, there was also a very dazzling star. Seeing the expressions of these 4 people, Ning Cheng secretly sighed in his heart, thinking that this 3-Star Academy was really awesome. Even the students who came out were so tough. This was the benefit of having a backer. It seemed like he would have to find a big school to rely on someday. However, when Ning Cheng thought about his spiritual root, he immediately dispelled this idea. With his spiritual root, even if it was a 1-star academy, it would be very difficult for him to enter, not to mention an advanced academy. Moreover, Ning Cheng did not dare to go in. His spiritual roots were constantly improving along with his cultivation. Once his spiritual roots improved to a certain extent, then wouldn't he be discovered by others? So it turns out to be the 4 elder brothers from the Starry Sky Academy. This Wenhong is very polite. I was blind a moment ago, please forgive me. This Miao Wenhong was also flexible. After understanding that these 4 people were from the Clear Heart Academy, he immediately changed to a smiling face. The blue-robed youth who had spoken before raised his hand and slapped out. Miao Wenhong simply did not think that he would be slapped in the face. Or rather, even if he had thought of it, he wouldn't have been able to avoid this slap. With that, he was sent flying, spitting out more than 10 teeth and a mouthful of blood. How domineering! The people who were secretly watching all sucked in a breath of cold air. The Mingot city's Wolf Palace's young master Wenhong was sent flying like a piece of garbage. Lu Yen reacted in a flash. She immediately smiled and came forward to greet the blue-robed youth. Lu Hohai Village's Lu Yen greets elder brother. Elder brother, is the Clear Heart 3-Star Academy far away? You are really amazing, to be able to cultivate in that kind of academy. Lu Yen is very envious. While speaking, Lu Yan's face was filled with worship and admiration. She could not wait to take out an autograph book and let the opposite party sign it. The blue-robed youth's attitude towards Lu Yan and Miao Wenhong was completely different. When he heard Lu Yan's words, he immediately smiled, and his face eased up. The Clear Heart 3-Star Academy is not far, but it is also not close. It depends on how you get there. If you want to use a beast carriage to get there, then I am afraid it would be very difficult. Lu Yan, can I take the liberty to ask elder brother's name? I am really looking forward to going to the Clear Heart 3-Star Academy. The worship on Lu Yan's face was getting stronger and stronger. My name is Lu Buhong. If you want to go to the Clear Heart 3-Star Academy, it is not impossible. After a year, our Clear Heart 3-Star Academy will be recruiting students from all over the Ping continent. You can still try it out. The blue-robed youth's tone was getting more and more gentle. It seemed that he did not even make a move a moment ago. Lu Yan was immediately pleasantly surprised and said, Elder brother Lu, this is really great. I must let my father take me there to have a look. Right, elder brother Lu, you and the other 2 elder brothers and an elder sister have just arrived at the Mingot city. You must be very tired. If you do not mind, you can go to my Hohai village to rest. I can also follow behind you and learn a thing or two. Lu Buhong waved his hand and said, there is no need to go to the Hohai village, we will go to the rest stop. Lu Yan's face showed a strong disappointment. She seemed to think of Ning Cheng and an Yi. She quickly put on a smile and walked in front of an Yi and said, this younger sister, would you like to help me persuade elder brother Lu, and then you can also come to my Hohai village. Lu Yan did not speak to an Yi, so Lu Buhong did not see an Yi, but now that Lu Yan spoke, Lu Buhong immediately noticed an Yi. His eyes suddenly lit up. This young girl was really too pretty. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. How could he not understand Lu Yan's trick? Lu Buhong's attitude towards her and Miao Wenhong was completely different. It showed that Lu Buhong liked to treat women with kindness, or rather, he liked women. She let an Yi go to the Hohai village, so that Lu Buhong could find an excuse to get close to an Yi, and then they could all go to the Hohai village together. Of course, this was based on the fact that Lu Buhong liked an Yi. If Lu Buhong did not like an Yi, then she would just be a blind person. Ning Cheng did not wait for Lu Buhong to speak, and shouted at Lu Yan, get lost, trash. Lu Buhong forcibly swallowed the words, why don't we go to the Hohai village together, and looked at Ning Cheng with a puzzled expression. He did not understand why Ning Cheng was so angry. Ning Cheng ignored Lu Yan's face, and cupped his fists towards Lu Buhong and the others and said, many thanks to this friend for your help. Lu Buhong had already recovered. He had seen that there seemed to be some contradiction between Ning Cheng and Lu Yan, but he did not think that Ning Cheng would actually tell Lu Yan to get lost. Now that Ning Cheng thanked him, he also cupped his fists and said, it's just a small matter, it's not worth mentioning. I haven't asked for this friend's name, so that we can have a drink together. My name is Ning Cheng. Just now my cousin and I were bitten by 2 mad dogs in the Mingot city. Now I do not want to continue to stay here. Brother Li's help today, this Ning will remember it. Ning Cheng did not want to have a deep friendship with these people, and quickly cupped his fists and refused. He had already offended Miao Wenhong and Lu Yan here. He was not a fool. Why would he continue to stay here? Besides, these students from the Clear Heart 3-Star Academy did not seem to be easy to get along with. The worst cultivation level was at the Qi Gathering 6th level. He simply could not compare to them. Hearing that Ning Cheng was not willing to go with them, Lu Buhong's eyes flashed with disappointment. He inadvertently glanced at an Yi, and then smiled and said to Ning Cheng, Brother Ning, the Clear Heart 3-Star Academy will be recruiting students from the entire Ping continent in a year. With the elegance of Brother Ning and your cousin, if you can enter the Clear Heart Academy, you will certainly be able to go to the next level. Ning Cheng certainly wanted to participate in the recruitment, but unfortunately his spiritual root was too poor. However, if an Yi had the opportunity, staying in the Clear Heart Academy would be much better than following him around. Fortunately, this matter was still early, and besides, he still had to seek an Yi's opinion. Thinking till here, he once again said, Thank you Brother Lu, next year if I have the opportunity, I will definitely go to the Clear Heart Academy to try my luck. Today I will be leaving first, goodbye. Good, next year I will be waiting for Brother Ning at the Clear Heart Academy. Lu Buhong said with enthusiasm, but unfortunately An Yi never said a word, nor did she even look at him. Miao Wenhong was beaten to the point that his mouth was full of blood. With the help of his servant, he did not even dare to say half a word, he could only helplessly watch Lu Buhong leave. Even if it was Ning Cheng and An Yi, he did not dare to come forward and talk nonsense. Lu Yan was also staring at the backs of Ning Cheng and An Yi. She swore that she would definitely kill Ning Cheng without a doubt. Ning Cheng and Lu Buhong said their goodbyes, and took An Yi to the Mingot city to help him and An Yi buy more than a dozen sets of clothes, and also bought a few maps of the Mingot Sea, and then hurriedly left the Mingot city. After experiencing these things, Ning Cheng was very clear that the Mingot city was not a place where he could live, at least not now. Big Brother Ning, that Lu Yan is so enthusiastic, why do I always feel uncomfortable looking at her? Since she wanted to invite me, why did she threaten my big brother? An Yi did not understand the ways of the world, for this kind of complex interpersonal relationship, she could not understand it at all. Ning Cheng sneered and said, that woman is a piece of glass is fine, but unexpectedly she is an arrogant piece of glass. What is a glass? An Yi did not understand. Ning Cheng waved his hand and said, you don't need to know about these things, that Lu Buhong is not simple, staying in the Mingot city will not bring us any benefits, let's go somewhere else. With Lu Buhong's identity, he could have killed Miao Wenhong, but he unexpectedly endured it, and only slapped Miao Wenhong in the face. It could be seen that this person was not as straightforward as he appeared on the surface. He should have known that killing Miao Wenhong would not be a problem, but there would be some troubles. Ning Cheng and An Yi rushed all the way. After half a day, they had already left the Mingot city far behind. Ning Cheng was still thinking about what Lu Buhong and the others wanted to do in the Mingot Sea. The Mingot Sea was a gathering place for rogue cultivators. Some of the people with status came here to gain experience. In Ning Cheng's view, if Lu Buhong did not have any important matter, then he would definitely kill that Miao Wenhong. Are the two friends going out to sea? A hearty voice called out to Ning Cheng and An Yi from afar, you're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.